Got a fun show for you tonight. We'll take you to 11 p.m. And as I mentioned, Kevin Gray will be joining me shortly. We'll talk, obviously, some Cowboys here in about 20 minutes. We'll see if we can maybe figure out how the run game can be more successful because, you've seen it thus far, not what you want. And, of course, if you want to be the contender that the Cowboys hope to be, that the Cowboys need to be, that run game's got to come together. So hopefully myself and KG can fix that for you here in about 20 minutes. But we begin by talking about your Dallas Mavericks. They're in action tonight, taking on the Toronto Raptors. They're playing at the AAC, and they've gone through about one quarter of basketball. They currently lead 31 to, and of course they move the score as soon as I'm about to say it, 31 to 25 against the Raptors. So that's your Dallas Cowboys up right now. But on that front, what myself and KG want to talk about, and of course KG, as I mentioned, will be joining us shortly. What we wanted to talk about, yesterday we talked with Tim McMahon of ESPN, friend of ours and friend of the show's clearly, about these Dallas Mavericks and the lineup that they've kind of gotten settled into. That lineup being obviously your two superstars, Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. Then also clearly the guy that you've brought in, that you went and got in free agency to be kind of a rock, do kind of some of the dirty work and be a vocal leader, Grant Williams. You see the young man, Derek Lively, as a center, as being a viable starting center, and that's been a development that everybody gets behind. But when it comes to that small forward role, that three, that wing role, that was a thing that people were considering. And so the question that we're asking in this first segment here, is this the right starting lineup for the Mavs? Now, tonight, this was not the starting lineup because Derek Lively is out for this game. So, of course, Dwight Powell steps in as the backup center that he is into that role as a starter again. But is this the right starting lineup? And really that centers around the idea of that winged position where you have Derek Jones Jr., a guy that you got pretty late in the offseason to play that three role, an athletic, rangy wing dude who's knocked down some shots fairly well to start the season. But last year you had a Josh Green as a young developing player really step up in another way, finding his shot a little bit more consistently, bringing energy. And so it kind of is a little surprising that Derek Jones Jr. has been the guy to have kind of held down that role thus far. But before we move any further, I do want to let you hear Tim McMahon's take on it as we were talking to him last night on the Get Right. Tim, what have you made of the Mavs and what they've gotten from Derek Jones Jr., and is it sustainable?
You know, when they signed him this summer, and he was a pretty late minimum signing in the summer, but I had some scouts around the league reach out and be like, hey, that's a really good addition for the Mavericks. Like, that's a really nice value there. Honestly, I would start Josh Green. I think Josh Green should be starting. Certainly when you look at the net rating, on-off numbers, all that kind of stuff, Josh Green has been phenomenal for them so far this season in terms of, making an impact on games. But Jones has been a really solid addition. The game in Memphis had probably the best shooting night of his career. And what he gives him is just a guy who, he's obviously a guy who plays hard and is definitely a major boost of athleticism. And there's no question this is a much more athletic team than what we saw last season. When they signed him.
There you go. Tim McMahon, ESPN, talking about what the Mavs have gotten out of Derek Jones Jr. And I mean, obviously you heard Tim there. He said that he would be starting Josh Green given the opportunity. And I think a lot of us looking at this Mavericks team coming into the season, we were looking at Josh Green as your probable starter because you really don't have another wing player. I mean, we were talking about the likes of if Olivier Maxence Prosper could get some playing time at wing as a rookie. And of course, he hasn't really seen the court very often, if at all. And that's to be expected. He's a rookie. He's a dude who has not had very much go of it. And he looked very much like a rookie and when you had playing time in the preseason. But Derek Jones Jr. has come in and he's been phenomenal. So the things that Tim was pointing to and alluding to took me down a little bit of a rabbit hole, I guess. Went to Cleaning the Glass, great website for statistics. And I was looking at those on-off numbers. And for those uninitiated, those are, when they're on the court versus when they're off the court, what's the impact that shows up. And when it comes to Josh Green, what's very apparent is when he is on the floor, the points per possession for this Mavericks team goes up a good amount. He's plus 18.5. The effective field goal percentage, the turnover percentage is better. The offensive rebounding is better. This is a dude who is athletic. This is a dude who is energetic, sometimes even to a detriment over his development, Josh Green, where, and I made a little bit of a quip about this yesterday, but one of the things that he's had in the past is he'll go and he'll just be energetic, jump in the air, trying to pass the basketball and find himself stuck. But that's because of the energy and the effort that he gives you. The thing about it defensively is, like, you are also better defensively, or I'm sorry, there's some instances where you're better defensively, but you're not as much better as Derrick Jones Jr. And that's the thing that I found interesting looking at his on-off splits. Offensively, you're definitely giving things up when it comes to Derrick Jones Jr. on the floor. His on-off numbers, the points per possession is down a good amount. I believe that's a negative 15.3 there. The effective field goal is down. Turnover percentage is not where you want it to be. Offensive rebounding percentage, and you say, hey man, you look at these on-off numbers and they tell a certain story. The story that looks like they're telling is Josh Green is a better player when he's on the floor. And thus, why would you not start Josh Green over Derrick Jones Jr. if those numbers go? And I think that we have to look at those numbers just a little bit closer. Also, I mean, if you wanted to be like pedantic and annoying, which, sometimes I do. Y'all understand who I am. I'm Reginald Atula. I do that sometimes. Is obviously these numbers going to look a little different because of the ways that Derrick Jones Jr. is starting versus being a guy that comes off the bench. Depending on how the rotations work out, a starter is going to face some of the more difficult situations compared to a guy who's coming off the bench facing a little bit some of the backups, I guess, so to say. But that aside, I think the more important thing is let's look at the way that these numbers are breaking down. And one of the things that's evident is the defensive numbers get significantly better with Derrick Jones Jr. on the floor. And I'll bring you in here, Rodrigo, as you'll be my sounding board here. And we were having a little bit of this conversation before we got on the air. When it comes to these Mavericks, what was the one known commodity about the way that this team was structured and what you were going to get?
Well, you didn't know if you were going to get that effort.
Yeah, but what did you know? What did you know what do you always know you're going to get out of these Mavericks?
That they're going to put up points.
There you go. Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, those two guys together are going to score points. That is not going to be something that you have to consider. In fact, as we were talking with Tim yesterday, Tim mentioned again, and I mean, it doesn't take anybody who is super involved here to understand that these two dudes are going to be incredible offensively. In fact, you should have an elite offense with them on the floor, just by the factor of them being on the floor. And so one thing that we could talk about is, I understand the game has always been about getting buckets. Those dudes are going to get the buckets. You do not need somebody else on the floor who is going to get more buckets. Now, obviously, that seems to run counter because especially when you talk about that wing, that's probably a guy who's going to be in the corner that Luka's going to pass the ball out to that needs to knock down shots. And thankfully, what's happened with Derrick Jones Jr. is he's knocked those down consistently enough, or he's had a little bit of he's done this enough, obviously the Memphis game doing a lot of it, that you can stick him out there and that'll probably happen. But I don't know how much you're going to get team players or defenders rather helping off of Luka because of that corner three. I think that they're going to take that poison. The thing about it is when we talk about the off the court, and obviously Jason Kidd is going to stagger these minutes enough where the likes of Kyrie and Luka are going to be on the floor for most of the time at any given time. You're going to have one of those guys on. But when you do go to a second unit of sorts, I think that's where you need to make sure that one of those guys isn't on the floor. Add other players that are going to bring energy, that's going to knock down shots. And I think that that's where Josh Green can be incredibly useful. And so I kind of do like what Jason Kidd is doing here, in that what you definitely needed was defense, especially playing with Kyrie and Luka. Offensively, they're great, but defensively, they leave a little bit desired. Now, one thing that you can say about both of those gentlemen in the early parts of the season is that they've given you effort, right? You saw last game with what was it, Monday? I was about to say yesterday. Yesterday was Tuesday. Monday night against the Orlando Magic, you saw Kyrie get a couple of steals very early into that game, indicative of the effort, obviously taking some gambles, but those are being fruitful. You can see Luka Doncic moving his feet, trying to stay in front of opposition. Is it always successful? No, but you have to understand who Luka is, and getting that effort is worthwhile. However, having the likes of a Derrick Jones Jr. that has athleticism, that has range, and that is long, that can help clean some of these things up, that can help add rebounding when it comes to that starting lineup is huge. And one thing I also want to say when we talk about the idea of if this starting lineup works right is we got to remember your starting lineup doesn't have to be your closing lineup. And I think that that's probably the most important part of this. I think that Derrick Jones Jr. is great when you're coming out the gate to help you establish, the feel of the game, establish the flow of the game. But when it comes down to what you need near the end of the game, I think that through the course of the game, you can get a feel for what's happening, what's necessary, if he's knocking down shots, Derrick Jones Jr., that is. And I think that from that place, if you need more energy, if you need maybe a little bit more consistent shooting, Josh Green can absolutely be your closer. And sometimes he is, right? And sometimes that ends up being a Tim Hardaway Jr. if he's going crazy, right? I think that you don't have enough when it comes to the wings to have a definitive, this guy needs to be the starter. And while I think that Josh Green needs to get his minutes, and I think he is getting his minutes thus far, I kind of do like what they're doing with Derrick Jones Jr. Now, I haven't seen what anybody else is saying, and apparently Kevin Gray decided to not join me in this first segment, but that's how I'm feeling. Do you kind of agree, Rodrigo, in those ways that I've laid it out when it comes to the way that the Mavs are running out their starting lineup?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be, I think, difficult to tell right off rip, how well this team, and again, that's something that we were talking about too before off the air, is this schedule has been really, really soft. So we don't know what this team's true potential is. I'm very curious to get your thoughts on how quickly maybe the turnovers, because that's been a pretty big issue so far, but how quickly those turnovers will start getting cut down.
On the YouTube, WeberFan1234 said, the Mavs need to sign a guy like Joe Johnson or Marvin Williams for veteran leadership. I think that one thing that we've got to, and this is tough because you talk about veteran leadership in particular, so I think that profiles as a particular type of player, but we got to give an appreciation for Grant Williams. Grant Williams has really, I don't want to say he's gone on the radar because he's been fantastic for you, but he's been really, really good. And on the floor, you've seen him knocking down the shots, the open shots as he's want to do and as he's supposed to do. You've seen him give you defensive effort. But one of the things that's not as easy to see on the floor, but if you trust the people that are reporting on this team, the people that are constantly, at practices and talking to the people that are around this team, Grant Williams is a lot of that leadership, that vocal glue guy, all of those things that we like to talk about when we're talking about leader guy. He definitely demonstrates that for these Mavs. And so I think that was part of the signing of him, in addition to just getting, a guy who could play the four, who has a little bit of versatility, maybe play a small ball five for you, a guy who can take difficult assignments defensively, a guy who can knock down shots. I think Grant Williams is huge in that regard. And don't forget, Kyrie Irving ain't no spring chicken. Kyrie Irving is a vet in this league. So when it comes to veteran leadership, when you're talking about dudes that have been there before, and when I say been there, we can talk about it, going to the playoffs, going to, the finals, winning the finals, those types of things. Kyrie has been there, and I understand his history being a controversial figure in some regard can cloud this. But one of the things is, especially when you saw this when he first got here, a lot of the young cats gravitated to him, said that he gave them good words of wisdom, things of that nature. And so you pair those things together, and I think that you have a lot of the veteran leadership that you have on top of having a head coach that played in this league, and that matters to those dudes on the court. But anyways, that's the way that I'm viewing the starting lineup for your Dallas Mavericks, who currently lead against the Raptors about midway through the second quarter. It's 42-40 at the American Airlines Center. We'll keep you up to date on what's happening there as the program goes along. But coming up next on the Get Right with Reg and KG, as I mentioned earlier, man, the Cowboys' run game not been as successful as you want it to be. How can it be more successful? Me and KG will take a look at it next on 105.3 The Fan.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose, even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines.
In, because if the balance of this offense needs to be struck, it needs to happen with the likes of Tony Pollard and Rico Dowdle behind this offensive line. Some of the numbers and what do those numbers tell us about maybe how this offense can be a little bit more successful in the run game, depending on what needs to happen for these game plans going forward here.
Yeah, man. I mean, obviously, where would you say this conversation started between us? Like, because obviously we get on the phone, we talk about some of these things sometimes. What was the starting point where we started talking about this run game today?
The offensive line, specifically, Tyron Smith and whether or not, and we'll get to some of that a little bit later on in terms of how much more practice is he going to be doing for the rest of the year, but more specifically on the right side of the offensive line where Terrence Steele has struggled, to say it lightly, mightily up to this point in the season. But one of the things that he was known for was the idea that if pass protection was going to be a little bit of a weakness for him, run blocking and the ability to, block in the run game was a real strength of his. And that's something that we haven't necessarily seen either, to where Tony Pollard, Rico Dowdle, and whomever's been running the football has not been really effective in the designed run game for these Cowboys running backs at this point.
Right. And so you had an idea on maybe what might help is, and you were just kind of spitballing the idea that maybe, even though you love running behind a future Hall of Famer in Zach Martin, and then Terrence Steele had typically been, very good in the run blocking game, maybe you direct more of those runs to the left. And that made me think, okay, well, I know where to go and find the numbers on how many times they do run one way or the other. And, that thought process, I will say, at least by the numbers, does look to be, it looks fairly similar on the distribution of runs left to right. But maybe you're thinking, all right, let's run a little heavier one way or the other. Now, one thing I could tell you is when it comes to the distribution, the heaviest run location is right up the middle. But when it comes to success is where you get a really interesting breakdown that I don't know that we're fully ready for. So I'm going to try and give you these numbers. Tell me to slow down if it ever stops making sense, okay?
All right.
So NFL has a statistical website that gives me an opportunity to see where a majority of these runs are happening and what the average gain for a run is in these various different ways. And now there's 7 different areas. Obviously, we can go going right to left just to make this easy. You got right off of the end, right towards the end. You got right off tackle, right at the guard, and then up the middle, left to the guard, left tackle, and then left end.
Sure.
Fair enough?
Okay.
All right,
Fair
cool.
enough.
So I'm going to give you the average amount of yards gained per run to these different areas.
All right.
Off the right end, 5 yards a gain. You like it, dislike it?
5 yards a carry is not bad.
All right, cool.
Not bad.
Right tackle, 6.95 yards per game this year.
Okay, so running behind Terrence Steele, 6.95 yards per carry.
Which literally ranks best in the league. I can also give you the rankings. The right end ranked 18th, right about middle, right?
Okay.
A little bit below middle. Running behind the right guard, funny enough, 3.65 yards per carry.
Okay.
Good for 24th in the league. Right up the middle, 3.91. Good for 17th in the league, which
It's okay. Yeah, it's mediocre.
could definitely be better considering what's happening there. Behind the left guard, how do you feel about the left guard? Think it's good?
Tyler Smith has been excellent so far this year.
3.48 yards per carry.
Okay.
Good for 23rd. Behind the left tackle, this one shook me when I saw it. 1.25 yards per carry. Good for 31st in the league. Now, KG, how many teams are there in the league?
There are 32 teams in the NFL.
Okay, so second worst yards per game at that location running the football.
Okay, let's stop down on that one for just a quick second, because I want to put some context behind that, because the left side has been a little bit of a pressure point in terms of injury so far this year with Tyron Smith and the amount of injury he's been dealing with. Even Chuma Edoga at times dealing with injury there. So not necessarily the most continuity on that side of the offensive line, given the fact that your Hall of Fame left tackle at times has not been available and ready to play. Maybe that's what's affecting some of that number there, because that's a very surprising number that you're 31st of 32 teams running behind your feature, or that left tackle's position there.
And from the 469, this is a fair text coming in. Consider what that behind that position means in terms of scheme, pulling guard, centers, etc. Appreciate that. And then off the left end, 5.14 yards per game. Good for 12.
Okay, so based off of those numbers so far, you're having some success off left end and off right tackle. Okay, because we're talking about nearly 6 yards per carry off right tackle, you had said?
7, funny enough.
Okay, and 7. Okay, so really high success rate there. So the question then becomes, how does this Cowboys offense, with some of the success on right tackle, off left end, how does this running game get a little more creative? Because that, to me, is where I find myself frustrated, is that the run game does not feel creative. It does not feel dynamic. And with a guy as explosive as Tony Pollard, I would feel like some of those dynamic elements could be found maybe with some better design to be able to get him into some areas where you're maybe pulling a little bit with Zach Martin. Imagine pulling Zach Martin over to the left side, over there with Tyron and Tyler Smith, and maybe creating some more running lanes and natural cutback lanes to where Tony Pollard and Rico Dowdle could utilize some of that vision to be able to make some things happen down the field. That, to me, I feel like is where this run game is missing in terms of some of the creative aspects and elements of it.
Yeah, and I mean, this might be, and this is likely oversimplified because, you know what, we're not getting down into the X's and O's of all the ways that this goes. But the only place where this team is above average in their play distribution is up the middle, which feels like counterintuitive. Not saying that, and I'm not trying to be the dude that's saying Tony Pollard can't tote the mail up the middle and between the tackles. I think he's capable of that. I also don't think that you should run your head into a wall.
Sure.
And so it feels like, why are you the team that is rushing the 7th most up the middle with Tony Pollard when you have players of this caliber on the outside, and especially once you start getting them pulling here and there? You are average or slightly below average getting out to the outsides. And I feel like with a player like Tony Pollard, who has the amount of bounce, the amount of vision that we have seen him display, again, might be oversimplifying the solution, but I would love to see them get outside more, get that guy to the edge and have opportunities to run in space, because it really does feel unfair to have him constantly running right up the gut into not very much. And obviously he's produced decently enough. He's produced, and not just him, obviously the run game in totality for the Cowboys is produced to a point where the average gain on plays in those middle spaces is, maybe 3.5, 4 yards. That's not terrible, but I would love to see him get on the outside, get on the perimeter, and utilize his speed, utilize his balance. And then also, hey, maybe Rico Dowdle. Maybe if you eventually get to a place where you feel comfortable again, Deuce Vaughn. It just feels like there's a lot more up the middle, and that's the part that even feels, on top of just the way that it's designed, just the decision of where you're running the football feels uninspired, and that's the thing that I think breaks my spirit.
Yeah, and I think based off of what this team is always talking about in terms of complementary football, finding balance, and we take this to the doorstep of Mike McCarthy, and I thought Voch Lombardi made a great point last night. If you're looking to strike some balance with this team as the play caller, you've got to take control of that so that the onus isn't completely on Dak Prescott to have to throw you and keep you in football games when you're having an ineffective run game, because at the end of that Philadelphia game, when you had a chance to score, when you are, 1st and 5 from the Eagles' 6-yard line with 27 seconds left, and you could not depend on your run game whatsoever to possibly make things happen for you to try and win that game, that's a larger issue for me going down the road that has to get solved, because I don't think the way that the Cowboys are going to go about this thing offensively, if they continue to go down this road with having Dak Prescott to throw for 350, 375, I don't know if that's sustainable or not for you to be able to win games. More importantly, for your defense as well, if you're going to dominate time of possession, and we've seen the Cowboys be able to lead the NFL when it comes to 10-plus play drives in the NFL. We know that they're really good on third down this year. You've got to be able to run the football to be able to have a little bit more balance so that you're not tiring out your defense, but more importantly, not putting all of this on Dak Prescott to have to keep you and throw you in and keep you in football games. The running game has got to start to participating, and I don't know if that's on Mike Solari, the offensive line coach, whether that's on Jeff Blasco, the running backs coach, or ultimately the play caller and Mike McCarthy, along with Brian Schottenheimer.
What are you trying to change? You trying to change over duties real quick? Is that what you were doing there?
I mean, I would imagine, and let's think about Brian Schottenheimer when he was in Seattle, some of the things he liked to do with the run game, and what does that look like for Tony Pollard and Rico Dowdle here? Something has got to change, and I wonder if some more creative design, and as you mentioned, getting Tony Pollard, getting Rico Dowdle, not just running downhill between the tackles, but on the outside to put pressure on these defenses, is something that you may have to start exploring, because something's got to change with this run game here.
And then to bring this a little bit full circle, as we were talking about earlier, the idea of the pulling guards and such, when you're getting to the outside, you allow them to pull and get out free. And nothing is more scary, I imagine, for a secondary player than seeing a big boy wearing a number 60-something or 70-something out here rumbling, bumbling, and tumbling down the field. Along those lines also, personnel kind of comes in here, because that's the conversation a lot of Cowboys fans have been having. Why don't you have a bruiser? Why don't you go get Derrick Henry? Why don't you? And I'm not certain that fixes it. However, the personnel that you do have on this team it feels like you can utilize it better. I've already talked about the idea of Tony Pollard utilizing him more to some of the strengths that we've seen in the past. Not saying that he's not capable of doing those things. From the 972, could we use Hunter Lipke like we use Zeke for short yardage to help the run game? I would think so. Like, it seems like that's he showed, and of course, how much stock do you want to put in preseason football? Understandable. But in the preseason, he did show you some things that made you believe that, hey, maybe this dude is capable of being a big yard back. Because otherwise, you just got a old school fullback that you're not going to utilize enough, which basically means you got a special teamer. And there's nothing bad about having a special teamer, but utilizing him in those ways, I think would be also helpful. Like, I want to see these personnel utilized more to your advantage as the Cowboys, because I don't know why you have Hunter Lipke if you're not going to utilize him in some of those big situations as well.
Yeah, because I thought for, Hunter Lipke, he would be kind of the, new version of John Kuhn. Remember him, the fullback?
Yes.
In Green Bay, leading the way for, some of the terrific running backs that they had, with Mike McCarthy there in Green Bay. And we just simply haven't seen that. Now, I don't know if that's a function of whether or not they don't feel like from a from a run blocking standpoint, or even sometimes from a pass protection standpoint, they feel confident in his abilities to do some of those things.
In the fullback?
Well, as I'm saying, you've got to start finding some of this out, and maybe that's part of some of the changes that have to be made is, look, Hunter, you got to get in here. We've got to start doing some different things to spring some open lanes along with this offensive line to get Tony Pollard and Rico Dowdle downhill. And then in short yardage situations, can you show the kind of power to be able to help us out here in short yardage situations, especially in goal-to-goal situations when you have a chance to be able to score points? Because for as much as, Ezekiel Elliott hasn't been necessarily effective in New England, one of the things that he did extremely well last year, when you got inside the red zone, when you got inside the 5-yard line, he was putting the ball in the end zone. And I don't know if you're missing that element of it, but more importantly for me, this offense has got to find balance, because if it doesn't, for me, this is not sustainable for them to be able to throw them and win football games, even with the kind of play that Dak Prescott is having right now. If they don't find a semblance of a run game, this team can't go where they want to go, because teams, as you mentioned, when it comes to the NBA, teams start to find out what you do and what you can't do and start to take those things away. As you get deeper into the season and obviously into the playoffs, these teams know you well enough to take away the things that you do well. Can you adjust and find ways to counter what these teams are going to be trying to take away? And right now, the Cowboys don't have a counter for the passing game, which should be a good running game. They don't have that right now.
Should I also throw in the little nugget that I saw defensively when it came to the Cowboys defending the run?
Oh.
Do you remember when I was telling you that the space where, because this number just jumps off of the screen. The space where, where would you historically, at least last season, have said that this team was susceptible to the run defensively?
Out on the edges.
Out on the edges, okay.
Mm-hmm.
On the left end, 6.13 yards. On the right end, 5.4 yards. One of the things that people talked about was the idea of up the spine. They are literally up the middle. They allow the fewest yards per carry up the middle, 2.96 yards.
Wow.
Like Big Bang Hank, Osa Odigizua, the linebackers, all of those folks.
Neville Gallimore,
all them folks that are involved in the
Mozzie
middle.
Smith a little bit at times.
Applause necessary for that. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, now that we've gotten the applause in, off left tackle. So offense is left tackle, so the defense is right. They allow 8.4 yards per carry, which is good for 32nd.
Oh, boy.
And I was like, I don't think I ever noticed that. But that was something that was surprising that jumped. Yes, 8.4 yards.
And boys and girls, that's not DeMarcus Lawrence's side. Okay? That's not DeMarcus Lawrence's side.
That is typically not where DeMarcus Lawrence typically plays on the left, which means.
That's right.
Oh,
boy.
People, they're running at Micah, and where Micah typically is, he obviously isn't always there.
Sure.
But that looks like a success offensively for the other team. So
and you don't even need the numbers to show how teams like to get after Micah in the run game and running the ball at him, especially when you start getting into zone read situations where you've got to have him making decisions on what he's going to be doing to defend, the run in certain ways. Philadelphia. So that's It's a little concerning.
Yeah, I didn't have any point with that. It was just these numbers that I was looking at to talk about the run on the offense. I looked over at the defense. I was like, hold on, why is that number so big?
But yeah, this run game has got to find a way to be able to be better. Otherwise, they are not going to go where they believe they should, given the offensive firepower that they do have in a lot of ways offensively. So we will see. Messed up the camera there. My bad. As they figure out things the way to go. Yeah, I was like trying to fix the thing and it messed up. Anyway, that's the Cowboys run game. How do they go about fixing it? We'll start to find out. I don't know how much we'll learn about it this weekend when they take on the Giants. But at the same time, they got to figure it out down the road. It's the Get Right with Reggie KG right here on your home of the Cowboys, the World Series champion, Texas Rangers 105.3 The Fan. Coming up next, we catch up and go around the National Football League next on the Get Right.
Coming up on the next K&C Masterpiece, are there any Giants players you fear, and where do the Cowboys hold major advantages? Plus, combo platter, National Fried Chicken Sandwich Day. Join the show 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on The Fan.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
If you turn it on and leave it on The Fan, you know we're DFW sports leader on insight and original content all day long. No need to go back and search for it. We send it to you. Yeah. Sign up for our fan newsletter today at 1053thefan.com. Proudly presented by Bosch Power Tools.
I'm a big believer in investing into what the wealthiest people in the world invest into. But it's not easy to know exactly what that is, and it hasn't always been possible for regular folks like you and I. But that's changing. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and if you've done a good job acquiring some assets, now is the time to consider private equity. Private equity is ownership of private companies that aren't traded on the stock market and in most cases are very exclusive. Examples could include ownership of apartments or nursing homes, dental practices, solar farms, you name it. Why do so many billionaires invest into private equity? Because of historically low correlation to the stock market and historically higher returns. If you have a goal with your portfolio but aren't there yet, call Trajan Wealth today. Call 469-579-3500. 469-579-3500.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. May require accreditation.
With tens of thousands of satisfied patients across America, it's no surprise QC Kinetics gets 5-star reviews.
I'm feeling on top of the world because of QC Kinetics.
I'm able to do the things that I wasn't able to do for a long time.
I can recommend them highly. I would recommend QC to anybody.
QC Kinetics has changed my life.
I couldn't believe it. I honestly was skeptical, but the pain went from a 10 to a 0.
Real people with real lasting relief from joint pain.
QC Kinetics Regenerative Medicine is regenerating me.
It was super successful, and I recommend everyone seek out QC Kinetics as an alternative to surgery.
This non-surgical approach is definitely the future.
I tell as many people as possible. I am an ambassador. I love QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. No drugs, no surgery. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 972-972-8610. That's 972-972-8610. 972-972-8610.
Our fan interview replays are proudly presented by Ciroc Vodka.
Nothing turns game day into a great day like stocking up at Specs and cheering on the Cowboys. As a proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys, Specs has everything you need to turn your pregame.
stuff we can name in this song. Stuff for lawns and decking halls. Save big on stuff at Amazon. Stuff.
Gillette Intimate gives guys a gentle and easy shave on there. And around there. And even under there. Don't treat your groin like junk. Respect it with Gillette Intimate, the best a man can get. Buy now at a retailer near you.
Fill your game day cooler with the refreshing taste of Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Smooth, real brewed tea with a 5% kick of alcohol. Look for the bright yellow cans. Twisted Tea. Keep it twisted.
Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
Hey everyone, Jane Slater from the NFL Network. Use it or lose it, folks. Your insurance company has been taking your money all year, so why not get something out of it? Book now at KissableDental.com. Teeth cleanings, whitening, they do it all. Even better, there are no surprises on your way out. Anyone else have anxiety about your post-visit bill? Well, don't. They want you to walk out happy with what you didn't pay. No headaches, no toothaches. KissableDental.com. That's KissableDental.com. The Kissable journey starts today.
Boomer Esiason is on the fan. Check out Kickoff, getting you ready for every game. Sunday mornings at 7 on the fan. Presented nationally by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos, brought to you by those who drink it. And Lowe's. Lowe's knows home improvement. It's Boomer on 105.3 The Fan.
This segment of the Get Right is brought to you by Classic Chevrolet. Classic Chevrolet is racing to finish the year #1 in America. They're leading the way with an unheard of 400 Silverados with their best Black Friday savings all month long. Shop them all at ClassicChevrolet.com. This is Texas. This is Classic Chevrolet. Find new roads and relax and enjoy the difference.
It's a song that no matter when or where it comes on, it's a bop every time.
Yes, I did. Return of the man.
Oh, okay, Rigo. All right, Rigo. It's the Get Right. Revenge of KG here on your home of the Cowboys, the World Series champion Texas Rangers. 105.3 The Fan, about to go around the NFL here in just a moment. Kevin Gray, Reginald Atatula, and the melodic tunes of Rigo Mendoza, apparently.
That's Mark Morrison. I don't know if you know that. That's not Rigo. He didn't make the song.
No, he didn't. But I'm just saying Rigo was singing it.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Just now.
I helped Mark Morrison compose it. That's what it was.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Shout out to Mark Morrison. And is that the? Okay, real quick. Is this?
That's like what the show is known for at this point. Just derailments.
Right? Was that his hit? Was that his one
hit wonder?
His one hit wonder? Was that it?
I know that he's got a few other songs that go, but I mean, when it comes to there's I don't think there's anything that compares by any means.
That's the one thing I love about music is that all it takes is one.
Now,
one.
I know that he had a bid that might have broken up some of that possibility.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but all you need is one. Cupid Shuffle. That's the only song I've ever heard from that dude ever.
What dude?
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. But he got that one song, Cupid Shuffle. And
he might have more songs. You just don't know.
Or he probably doesn't, because that's the only one we know about at this point. TruckRed.com text line 877-881-1053. What's your favorite one-hit wonder song?
And don't be disrespectful, because as soon as you bring up somebody who got more than one hit.
Exactly.
It's a problem.
That's
the wobble.
Oh, that's a good one.
Are we calling that a hit?
I mean, it's at every party.
All right. Okay.
No?
Every quinceañera.
Oh, wow.
Oh, buddy, any gathering of peoples, you break out a line dance and people will, hop to.
Yeah, that is very true.
That's how this works.
Okay. We'll see what people drop in there.
See now, Loki Joker are already doing it. It said Gangsta's Paradise.
Oh.
You already doing it.
Yeah.
You're already doing it.
Gangsta's Paradise. Wow, yeah, that's that is
like Cooley only got one song. That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy talk.
Yeah, we said Cupid Shuffle 601. Did we not?
They said you mean Cupid. That's the because I said, do you even know who made the song? And it was Cupid.
Oh.
See, you didn't even know.
Oh, no, exactly. See, exactly. I was like, I did say Cupid Shuffle. Anyway.
There we go. Someone said Crank That by Soulja Boy. He has more than one.
He has more than one.
All right, now. Trinidad James, you might have got me there. I'm not gonna lie. You might have gotten me.
Let's go around the NFL. Oh wow, people are really dropping them in here. From the 817, Ice Baby, David Tolo from Hazlitt.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Oh, now wait a minute. 817, best one-hit wonder ever. Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley. I feel like he's had more than one, but that's the most famous of his songs.
I honestly don't even remember.
Okay.
That's one where I'm gonna have to do my Googles.
You have to do a little research on that one.
Remind myself.
Well, you know who could help you on that research?
Who? This is gonna be a segue. Just be ready for it, ladies and gentlemen.
Patriots corner J.C. Jackson.
There it is. Oh, because he got time on his hand, huh?
He's got plenty of time on his hands these days. That's because he will not be making the trip overseas with the New England Patriots. So he's got reliability issues and concerns.
Rick Astley also had Together Forever.
Okay.
Together forever and ever with you. You know what I mean?
Oh, just like that?
You don't remember it?
No.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
My bad, dog. Anyways, you were talking about J.C. Jackson?
Yeah, he's not going to make the trip with the New England Patriots this weekend due to reliability concerns. So he will not be available for the New England Patriots when they play this weekend.
What does that even mean?
It means they don't like him.
I was like, what do reliability concerns actually mean? Because, like, look, that looks nice to put on the paper, and, ooh, boy, that's tough. I mean, good. How much of that is guaranteed? That is the first question that I have to ask about J.C. Jackson in that. What was it, 87 mil that he got? How much of that is guaranteed? Because it's starting to feel like that is all that you're going to see. The part that is guaranteed, Bubba.
Well, here's the thing. So J.C. Jackson, who was demoted from the starting lineup in Sunday's loss to the Commanders, not expected to travel with the team to Frankfurt, Germany, when they take on the Colts. Sources confirmed to Mike Reese, who covers the New England Patriots for ESPN. NFL Network first reported that Jackson won't travel for the game, citing questions about his reliability. A source telling Reese of ESPN that Jackson missed curfew at the hotel Saturday.
Oh, buddy.
And SportsIllustrated.com had previously reported that Jackson was late to the hotel.
Oh, no.
And he was listed as not participating in Wednesday's practice for quote-unquote personal reasons.
Oh, so we getting the Bill Belichick being a jerk part of this is what's happening.
You remember that one time when he did that to that one corner, Malcolm Butler in the Super Bowl?
I do.
When they played the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes.
And we were all looking at Bill Belichick. Hey, you might want to use that guy who at the time was pretty good at corner against a team that's lighting your ass up in the Super Bowl today.
Sure, but this is the thing that I find interesting about the Bill Belichick, right? Like, he does it kind of like Bill Parcells, right? Where it was just like, it's going to be unpleasant to work here, but at this point, you're not here for the pleasantries, you're here for the winning, right? And it's one of the reasons why all the dudes in his tree have been awful is because they've been in here like, we're going to kick it like Bill. And it's like, y'all ain't won by like Bill. Get out of my face, right? Shout out to Josh McDaniels, right?
Yeah,
shout out to Matt Patricia. Shout out to, with Joe Judge, right? We could just keep
Ooh,
shouting
boy,
out.
Joe Judge.
There's
Ooh,
a lot of them that tried to kick it like Bill but wasn't winning. And the reason why I did all of that, that was all precursor to me saying this right here, KG. Is Bill winning? Because I don't know if you can do this anymore, my boy. I don't know if you can do this anymore, my guy. That's crazy.
Oh, boy. That's going to be one hell of a day when Robert Kraft throws in that press release. Yeah, Bill Belichick's been fired, which is odd because Ian Rappaport just a few weeks ago had reported that Bill Belichick had quietly signed an extension this offseason with the New England Patriots as their head coach. And there now are questions that have arisen again about the idea that he may not be back at all after the end of this season, which would be, all good things must come to an end at some point, So maybe for Bill Belichick, this is his time. But J.C. Jackson, not going to be a part of it going into this weekend. As we continue around the NFL, someone who will not be a part of the Philadelphia Eagles defense for a little while, that would be Nakobe Dean.
Yeah.
He's got a Liz Frank sprain. Sources tell Tim McManus of ESPN. So after he will seek further medical opinions, and it appears he'll be placed on injured reserve. Of course, a second-year linebacker out of Georgia, became a starter this year and has been tasked with the calling of the defensive signals for the team. But it looks like he's going to be gone for a little while for that Eagles defense there.
Yeah, that's really tough for them. I know that Dallas Goedert is doubtful.
He's been put on IR, yeah, with the broken forearm, I believe, is that he has. So he's going to be out for a while as well. So
they're really testing, like they're going to test their get it done because it does feel like, obviously you could look at the record, 8-1. That's a team that has not been the cleanest, but they've just kind of gotten it done. And they are starting to get to the point where they're testing this get it done. Is like, how many injuries and things can you sustain where you will get it done, through that? I guess we will find out week 11 versus Kansas City.
Yeah, shout out to the bye week and the NFL looking out for both the Chiefs and the Eagles, because they were like, hey, let's put you all on your bye week at the same time. So when y'all get ready for that Monday Night Football game, both of y'all will be healthy for your Super Bowl rematch on that Monday Night Football game. So the NFL looking out for the Chiefs and the Eagles from their bye week. Speaking of the Eagles, I know that the Cowboys lost to the Eagles on Sunday. They also won as well. Do you know how?
You're going to do the thing where we pretend that we, the individuals that are not TV execs, care about the ratings?
Sure. Yeah,
okay.
Why not?
Very good.
Because the Cowboys and Eagles was the most watched game of the entire NFL season on any network. Cowboys-Eagles averaged a whopping 27.1 million viewers for Sunday's America's Game of the Week, making it the most watched NFL telecast on the season on any network and the most watched telecast of any kind on any network since Super Bowl 57.
So we're surprised that Cowboys-Eagles went up?
Cowboys win the
Did they?
ratings game. That's right. That's right.
That make any of y'all feel better? Well, maybe it did, right? Just remember that there's a lot more of your fellow compatriots that were in with you watching those moments of your Dallas Cowboys.
One of my favorite graphics every year is at the end of the season where they show the top 5 most watched games of the season for that year. And I think last year the Cowboys had 3 or 4 of the 5 most watched games outside of the Super Bowl last year during the regular season. If nothing else, people are going to watch the Dallas Cowboys.
And then you match that with major market and good football team, Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, could have seen. I mean, we all saw that coming.
Number might not be nearly as high when they take on the Giants this weekend. Although everybody likes to watch a good train wreck, New York. So that'll happen there. Let's trip around the National Football League here on the Get Right. People pouring in their favorite one-hit wonder songs.
And I do love the diversity of the picks. Y'all just picked all sorts of stuff. This is very fun.
We've got P.D. Pablo, Helicopter. From the 817, You're a Jerk. From the 214, this is a good one. Mambo number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No. Okay. Thanks for not participating there.
I'm trying to remember. Various things. First of all, the P.D. Pablo song is "Raise Up," and P.D. Pablo got stuff. Laffy Taffy by D4L also came in, which is fun. Somebody mentioned LFO Summer Girls, one of the most horribly written songs that I've ever heard of in my life. OT Genesis came up. Mims came up. Let's see. Someone brought up the Ting Tings, which I feel like I got to go and do my research on that because I feel like I can only remember, what is it? Shut Up and Let Me Go. Was that one? That's the one?
Oh, okay.
What Is Love by Hadaway. Y'all just went all up. Psy. You remember that time that Psy was taking everything over?
Yeah.
I loves that song.
From the 469 and 601. Eh, Macarena.
Oh, boy. Do y'all know what the Macarena is about?
I don't think we have time to get into that.
Nope, we
really
sure
should,
do.
But I really want to inform the people. We'll bring that around the final call. Don't let me forget.
Somebody that I used to know in tub thumping.
Chumbawamba?
Chumbawamba,
something like that.
Knocked down.
Coming up next on the Get Right, bold predictions from the MLB offseason, including this one for your Texas Rangers, World Series champion.
There it goes. Fix that one.
Texas Rangers. Next on the Get Right.
Welcoming new listeners to our clubhouse with open arms.
I don't know what to say.
Thanks for listening all day to 105.3 The Fan and through our Odyssey app.
Imagine moving into your new home before selling your old home. For top dollar, you can with Orchard. Here's one couple's story. Moving to Texas for work, they needed to sell their old home first. Move.
If you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. I've gone through it. Sean's gone through it. We both highly subscribe to therapy. BetterHelp.com/Sean and RJ. Today, get 10% off your first month. BetterHelp.com/Sean and RJ. Find your bright spot this season with BetterHelp.
Your turn it on, leave it on. Home of America's team is 105.3 The Fan.
Hello, baby.
KRLD FM and HD1, Dallas Fort Worth.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
From our fan studios secured by DFWsecurity.com, it's time for the Get Right on 105.3 The Fan.
Hour number 2 of the Get Right with Reggie KG on your home of the Cowboys and World Series champion Texas Rangers. 105.3 The Fan. Kevin Gray, Reginald Atatula.
What up?
Rigo Mendoza holding it down for you here. Really appreciate you joining us on Odyssey and the Odyssey app. Bold predictions going into the MLB offseason, including this one for your Texas Rangers. At Kevin Gray Sports, at Reg Atatula if you want to get at us on Twitter. With you until 11 o'clock tonight. I'm located at the Star in Frisco after Cowboys Crosstalk. Reg back in our DFWsecurity.com studios. Appreciate you joining us on Twitch at twitch.tv/DallasFanCam and on YouTube as well. Make sure you subscribe to 105.3 The Fan on YouTube and check out all of our terrific content there, including an excellent segment I thought today by Kevin Hagelin and Mike Bassick talking about Shohei Ohtani and the possibilities of what he would look like in a Texas Rangers uniform. You could check that out. That's up on YouTube right now for 105.3 The Fan.
And go ahead and hit the subscribe button.
Yeah, do that.
Steady putting up all the great segments from the station and podcasts, because you'll catch the Love of the Star podcast and the Spits and Suds podcast on that same feed. So all the great content from 105 through The Fan. A great place and easily accessible. Shout out to Low-Key Joker and Pfizer Bro and Tejano Boy and Ultimate Mags all on the YouTube. Y'all know what it is, right?
And our conversation with Tim McMahon also up there as well.
Is it? I can go back and watch myself flub a question. I can do that.
You recovered rather nicely, though. I like the way that you did that. And even Tim was like, throwing shots at old Josh Green.
I didn't even mean it as a shot. He do be getting up in the air, not knowing where we want to go.
Has no idea what he's going to do with the ball next. Like, Josh, stop jumping. Just stop jumping, Josh.
At all? Just don't jump at all?
Or, I mean, with the ball in his hand in the air. Let's just not do that.
There is a person on YouTube whose name is Pfizer Boy. I didn't name it that. That's what they named themselves.
Oh, Travis Kelce watching the show tonight?
Well, all right. We supposed to be talking about baseball or something?
Yes, we will. Real quick update on what's happening at the American Airlines Center.
Yeah.
Mavs down by 11 at the end of 3, 84-73 to the Toronto Raptors. Shout out to future Maverick Pascal Siakam.
I like what you're doing there.
He's 14 of 22 for 29 points and 11 rebounds.
And you know where some of that is? Remember, Derek Lively ain't playing, and they are like, oh, we can get to the rack?
Christmas.
Bet. And that's what it has felt like. Is that, I mean, again, I'm seeing bits and pieces because we are currently doing a radio show.
That's right.
But every once in a while I look up and I'm like, oh, they are just trying to do their work early, get low positioning, or get to the rack wherever they can. And so that is definitely one of the things that's showing up in this game.
Also, Luka Doncic so far on the night. 19 points on 6 of 5 from the field.
6 of 15.
Or excuse me, 6 of 15 from the field with the 19 points. A -6 so far.
Hey, man. The Raptors have gotten up 14 more shots than the Mavericks in this game.
Oh, boy. That's not great.
12 turnovers by the Mavs. Not what you want. Okay. All right.
Okay.
I'm just trying to keep my eyes over there. Oh, my God. 10 steals for the Raptors. Yeah, that'll do it. That will do it.
That'll do it. So there we go. We'll keep you updated on everything happening there at the AAC. 84-74 at the end of 3. Some bold predictions, though, going into the MLB offseason. It's going to be one hell of an offseason because the biggest prize on the free agency market would be Shohei Ohtani.
Sure, yes.
Who last season hit .304 with 44 homers and 95 RBI, while also stealing 20 bases.
Yeah, man, that's one of the things that I think is interesting. And I'm not trying to pretend like, oh, I know more than everybody else, because I don't. But like, sometimes I wonder if people remember that dude is fast. like fast, because it's easy to forget because he has so many other great talents. An incredible pitcher of the baseball, incredible thrower of the baseball, just like the speed that he'll get to when he's at the plate. Really good. Would you say that he was batting before he got injured?
304.
Yeah. Good at baseball, power, all those things. 5-tool because that speed is also there.
So, of course, he is the biggest prize on the free agency market this MLB offseason. CBS Sports presents us with some bold predictions for this MLB offseason. Number 1, Shohei Ohtani leaves the Angels and signs with...
Yes?
The Dodgers.
I thought these were supposed to be bold.
Well, you know.
Like we've been waiting for the idea that the Dodgers sign him for what, like a year and a half? In fact, you could look at the whole Dodger strategy on last free agency and their Dodger strategy this free agency. At least they didn't offer the qualifying offer to JD Martinez, DH. And the reporting is that they're, waiting to see if they make their overture to Shohei Ohtani, then that determines how they go about these other things. Yeah, that seemed like the common wisdom. Like, don't be cowards, put them on the Rockies. Come on. That's bold. Let's do it.
That would be a hell of a move if the Rockets were like, you know what, we got it. What? No. Now, the bold prediction that they do make is that he will sign a 13-year, $500 million contract.
It sounds like a deal.
It sounds like a bargain to me. Now, here's the thing, and I thought Bassick and Hagelin brought up an interesting point, and Bob Nightingale, who was on with G-Back Nation yesterday, the idea that, Ohtani may not be ready to pitch until maybe 2025.
Oh, yeah. Because 2024, he's not pitching at all next year. You're getting a DH for the first season.
Yeah.
A really good one, though. Like a really good DH. And then after that, you go back to the idea of, and this is the thing, maybe some people would be like, he's good enough as a hitter. We do not need to try and get him as a pitcher. The problem is he wants to pitch. And so the year after that, you're going to need to find a way to make sure that he is pitching and hitting. But I don't know that there are very many teams in the league that are upset about that.
No, I would agree with that. Bold prediction number 2. Now, here's a player who's not actually a free agent, but there's a lot of rumors that he may get moved this offseason. The Padres trade Juan Soto to the Yankees.
Oh, yay. The Yankees getting more stuff.
Well, San Diego's planning to reduce their payroll to $200 million next season. And they don't have to necessarily trade Soto, but that would be a big step toward possibly reducing some of that salary.
Yeah, fair enough.
Last year hit 275, 35 homers, 109 RBI, stealing 12 bases as well.
That is a team that, people laughed at the Mets this year. And look, man, Steve Cohen, keep spending that money. It makes me laugh. It's either, hey, man, these other owners will look up and see they should probably spend money too, or it's funny. Win-win for me. But look, I'm not trying to look. There might be people out here saying this. I feel like we haven't laughed enough at the Padres because they went all in and then all in again and then all in again and have gotten buckus.
Nothing.
They have gotten nothing out of this.
Absolutely nothing. This is an interesting text from the 682. As a Rangers fan since I was 8, they're now 36.
You 36.
They don't want Shohei Ohtani. I find that to be very interesting. I want to explore that for me.
Yeah, I'm interested. And I imagine before you even send that in, but please do send in your text 682, that it's probably an injury conversation.
Mm-hmm.
That would be because there have been injuries that have stopped him from pitching, and you wonder if the load that is undertaken by hitting a majority of the time and then pitching on a regular schedule is just too much for any individual like that. And then also the amount of money that you have to put on the table that then in theory is not available in other aspects. Like I get that, but have you seen him? He's really good at baseball.
Yeah, he's really, really good at baseball.
Like I don't want to make the analysis too simple, except why would we make it complicated? Have you seen him?
Have you seen him? This is both from 214. Juan Soto to the Rangers. If Juan Soto became a member of the Texas Rangers, no, okay.
That's an outfielder when you have a glut of young outfielders coming up that are going to be on this team for a long time.
He'd be fun, though. He'd be really fun.
Fair enough. Look,
really
far
fun.
be it for me to tell you to not have fun.
Yeah.
you already have Evan Carter who you feel comfortable probably roam center field for a long time. And then your Wyatt Langford is coming through.
That's right.
And then at that point, you're already trying to find what you're doing with Leody Taveras and Adolis Garcia. Not saying that they're the same, but now you have 4 outfielders that you feel like are everyday. You want to add Juan Soto to that as well, to that confusion?
Woo! So
actually, now that I said it, go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Figure it out.
We'll figure it out. Just trade him. We'll figure it out from there.
I know that there's a roster limit. I don't care. Put them all on there.
Bold predictions for this MLB offseason. I want to take it to this one here. 3 top starters re-signed with their teams, says CBS Sports. Those starters, Sonny Gray,
okay,
Cy Young Award candidate.
So stays with. He was with the Yankees, right?
Minnesota Twins.
He gets no, okay. I'm just completely forgetting things. That's right.
Eduardo Rodriguez back to the Detroit Tigers.
That's right. He was the one who refused to get traded at the trade deadline. That's fine.
And Jordan Montgomery coming back to the Texas Rangers.
Excellent. I mean, this is something that we've been talking about, and it feels like it's necessary. Until especially, I mean, he pitched really well here. You need your rotation to be solid, and obviously you have some guys that you anticipate coming back, but not immediately. And you made a good point, because I started talking about the idea that you would be buying high on Jordan Montgomery. This is probably the highest that he's been in his career, and it's like you're buying high. Are you sure that he's going to remain at this height, or are you going to be overpaying? And I thought your retort was really good.
I would love to remember. Now I can't.
Oh, okay. What you were talking about is, when was the last time you saw the best Jordan Montgomery, and who was he paired with?
Yeah, Mike Maddox. Yeah, and his renaissance. Thank you for helping me remember my own thoughts.
Yeah, I still want to give you credit, because it was a great point by you.
Oh, no, thank you. Yeah, and you saw what happened when he came back and was reunited with him. He was a completely different pitcher,
and he was good already this season with St. Louis, but that I don't think I was anticipating the way that he pitched in the postseason at all.
Yeah, and his second half with the Rangers and ultimately his postseason was terrific. So if you want to keep that continuity there, it looks like a good move to keep him here. Now, the projected contract that CBS Sports has for him would be to the tune of 5 years, $125 million. You comfortable with that particular number in that case?
I feel like I'm just going to lean on my common answer, which ain't my money.
I mean, that's $25 million per, which I think is comfortable given his status, what he was able to do this postseason. Anywhere between 21 to about $25 million at the high end seems reasonable for Jordan Montgomery, and I think a move that the Rangers would be willing to make to bring him back to be a part of this rotation, which would give you a starting rotation going into next year with Jordan Montgomery, Nathan Eovaldi, Max Scherzer. And if you want to throw John Gray in there as your fourth starter.
Yeah, John Gray's absolutely in there.
So that's not a bad way to kick off your 2024 season as far as your starting rotation is concerned, knowing that hopefully Jacob deGrom is on his way back at the earliest July, maybe. It'll be post All-Star break. You know, if you see Jacob deGrom in 2024, and if that is the case, you can add him for your late season run, you know, toward a division and obviously another deep postseason run. The Rangers have a really good problem on their hands with the fact that Jordan Montgomery was able to pitch the way that he did in the second half and in the postseason. That would, I think, give them confidence that if they brought him back, he could duplicate that, especially in a full season with Mike Maddox, of course, with his pitching coach once again.
Yeah, shout out to the 469 who says Jordan Montgomery has a lifetime 3.68 ERA. He's good. I understand that, but that also comes with, I mean, he had some years in New York where he had a 6.75, 5.11 ERA. The thing about it is these games, you know, the games that he had with the Rangers to end the season was a 2.79, and it got even better once you include postseason starts. So that's where it gets, you know, that's the dichotomy that we're talking about. And you're paying for maybe closer to the latter than the former of the pitchers. But like, I like what you're saying, KG, when you're talking about his pairing with Mike Maddox, and then also just he seems very comfortable with this team, and especially understanding that you're going to get run support. I love what you're getting in this instance, so I do think that keeping that together, because I mean you mentioned the 3 starters that you have, and if Max Scherzer gets back to using that slider the way that he's want to do, and it being effective, that's 3 dudes that on any given day you anticipate being number 1 starter type quality pitchers in your rotation. You love that for a World Series reigning champion.
I want to address this text real quick. This is a very interesting one real quick before I go to break. From 682, I like the humbleness of our team. I don't want us to start being like the Yankees and just paying everybody. That's an interesting text, because one thing that this team has shown is aggressiveness. And Ray Davis has been willing to spend the money to ensure that he has a competitive roster that obviously was able to deliver a World Series championship with this group. So I find it interesting, the dichotomy of, well, I don't want to be like the Yankees, but I also want to win and stay humble at the same time. I don't know if you can have it both ways necessarily, or if it's even worth having that kind of discussion, because most times you want your ownership to be as aggressive as they can be to put a winner on the field in that way.
Yeah, I mean, you can view it that way, or you can view it as the team investing in the team. And and like, I hate to say it this way, because obviously there's been a lot of work done by, the development and, the management and everything. You don't win this World Series without investing and spending money.
Mm-hmm.
And so that investment is necessary. And I understand you want to be very pointed, and you want to be very methodical in your spending money. That I understand. And I understand that, me making the joke that it's not my money makes it seem like I'm not concerned about that. Obviously, that's going to be the main thing. You don't want to spend money just for the sake of spending money, but doing it in ways that will consistently make your team better. And one of the things, Jordan Montgomery, I believe, makes your team better, right? I understand that Shohei Ohtani, then, like, from the 817 here on the truckwreck.com text line, you guys are messed up for paying a 30-year-old DH that can't stay healthy. Y'all say he's good at baseball, but he's one-armed. You don't know if he can even play. We do know that he can play. We've seen it over a long stretch of time. And look, I understand that there's injury issues. You also had to go in with injury issues to get to this point again as well, right? And I think that when you talk about a generational talent like Shohei Ohtani, I don't think there's a team in the world that is not willing to take that chance for the possibility. And also, I guess the cynical portion of that is like, look, man, the baseball is one thing. There's a lot of value there. There's also a lot of value in an organization. You talk about spending that money, they're getting that money back from having Shohei on here. The TV, the international media, all those things, like that,
all the extra stuff
that generates revenue as well. So that might offset a decent amount of what that pay is when it comes to the ownership. And one thing I can say about Ray Davis, at least in these last couple of years, cut them checks. He cut them checks. So I'm right now, I'm not too worried about him feeling about footing the bill just now. He'll let us know if that becomes a little too strenuous for him.
Some bold predictions for this Major League Baseball offseason already underway as hot stove season is up and cooking in Major League Baseball for your World Series champion, Texas Rangers. Coming up next here on The Get Right, what we know and don't know about these teams at the midway point of the season. We'll discuss it next on 105.3 The Fan.
Blasting out 100,000 watts of FM sports talk power and streaming 24/7 on the Odyssey app. This is DFW Sports Station.
or 817-333-3333.
It's to Get Right with Reg KG here on your home of the Cowboys and World Series champion Texas Rangers 105.3 The Fan. Kevin Gray, Reginald Atatula. What we know and what we don't know about some of these NFL teams at the halfway point of the season. We'll get into that discussion here in just a moment on 105.3 The Fan. At Kevin Gray Sports, at Reg Atatula if you want to get at us on Twitter. Coming up here in 16 minutes, we'll go inside the gray area where, of course, there is no gray area. We'll do that here in 16 minutes on 105.3 The Fan. But we are at the, hard to believe, already at the halfway point of the NFL season, as this season has gone by extremely fast. And the Cowboys, of course, getting ready to take on the New York Giants on Sunday afternoon at 3:25 on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network, on your home of the Cowboys 105.3 The Fan, and on Fox for America's Game of the Week. Here's the thing. I feel like Kevin Burkhardt, Tom Rinaldi, Aaron Andrews, and Greg Olsen just, wherever the Cowboys are, they are at this point. Like, they're literally everywhere at this point.
Well, I mean, you just detailed not too long ago the way that the ratings seem to follow the Cowboys. So when it comes to Fox, and that does come to TV executives when it comes to their money, and they're like, hey, who would we like to put our best team on? How about the team that's going to get the most viewers? So when they have an opportunity to have the Cowboys, they're like, yeah, let's throw Burkhardt and them over there.
Yeah, they'll do the game. Why not? Let's learn about some other NFL teams, though, and what we know and what we don't know about these teams, Reg, at the halfway point of this season here.
Yeah. Is there a team that immediately jumps to mind that you would like to get a gander at, because this comes from ESPN, and so they got all 32, and we're not going through all 32. It's just not happening.
No, we're not. A team that is piquing my interest right now because they have just become a buzzsaw right now. The Baltimore Ravens. What do we know and don't know about the Baltimore Ravens?
All right, according to the Baltimore Ravens, we know that they are a serious Super Bowl contender. Quarterback Lamar Jackson is an MVP candidate, leading the lead in completion rate and topping all quarterbacks in rushing yards. The defense is allowing a league-low 13.8 points per game while producing an NFL best 35 sacks. And over the last 3 weeks, the Ravens have beaten two division leaders by a combined score of 75-9. So we know Super Bowl contender, MVP candidate at quarterback. Easy enough? We know that?
Yeah, not bad.
Okay. What we don't know, if Lamar Jackson will stay healthy. In the last 2 years, the Ravens were in first place in the AFC North in December before Lamar Jackson injuries derailed the seasons, right? With Lamar Jackson dealing with an ankle injury in 21, knee injury in 22, Baltimore lost 7 of 9 games without him in December or later. So they tried to reduce the number of hits on him this season. They've called an average of 4.4 design runs per game, which is a career low for Lamar Jackson. So they're trying to limit that, but will he stay healthy? Because if he stays healthy, it looks like they might be able to just roll to an opportunity at maybe getting themselves into the Super Bowl.
And that's the thing. Then that's flipped up for Baltimore, not only of the offense, but defensively. If this team continues to sustain itself, I mean, they're a juggernaut right now. And I like the point about the idea of Lamar Jackson staying healthy, because if he can, and this receiving core continues to come around, we know they got a Mark Andrews at tight end there. This team is scary. Very, very scary. And they're running the football without J.K. Dobbins, which is...
Yeah, Gus Edwards has done well. They got the young cat that came through as well.
Was it Keaton Mitchell or something?
That's right.
Yeah, had over 130 yards on the ground on, 9 carries, something like that? Absurd.
I mean, low-key, they seem to have a stable of running backs at any given time that they feel fairly comfortable with. Because remember, last year, they lost like 3 of them dudes. And that's why it was an injury issue, because they lost like 3 running backs.
Yeah. Shout out to Todd Monken, who...
Tried to told you.
You did. You have been on the Todd Monken train since he was hired as the offensive coordinator for Baltimore, and so far it has paid extreme dividends. Lamar Jackson, leading MVP candidate in the NFL. What we know and what we don't know about some of these teams at the halfway point of the NFL season.
By the way, Baltimore has held the lead entering the fourth quarter every single game they've played this year.
All right, that'll do it. All right, that'll work. That'll work.
Who's up, KG? Spin the wheel of NFL football teams.
Let's take it to the NFC this time.
Fair enough.
And I'll go with Tell me about New Orleans a little bit. What's going on there?
That's a great one to ask about. What we do know about the New Orleans Saints is that the secondary is the real deal. The Saints have consistently forced at least one turnover in all 9 games, and we know how difficult that is in the NFL. They've had at least one interception in 7 of them. 5 different defensive backs have at least an interception, and the Saints lead the league with 12 total. Those takeaways have helped keep the team in games when the offense has struggled, which doesn't look like it'll stop anytime soon.
Marshawn Lattimore continues to be one of the best corners in the NFL, and has continued to play at a very high level for them. Okay. I mean, the defense is good. Cam Jordan's still there. They've got DeMario Davis, still one of the best linebackers in the NFL, too. They've got a really, really good defense in New Orleans. Offensively, they're turning things around as well.
Well, I mean, they can't. If they can start moving the ball on offense, they'll have an opportunity. But we don't know that they'll do that. They rank 29th in yards per rush, 18th in rushing yards per game, and they've yet to have a 100-yard rusher in a game.
Which is surprising with Alvin Kamara there. And what he's capable of doing, not just in the run game, but also in the passing game as well. But I feel like Derek Carr, as of the last 3-4 games, from the passing game standpoint, has really started to carry this offense with Chris Olave and that receiving core there. So if they, much like the Cowboys, can get the ground game going a little bit in New Orleans, that could be a potentially even scarier offense for Dennis Allen's group there in the Big Easy. But they're a real interesting team because the NFC South is real mid, but it's a competitive division. As mid as it is, it's been a competitive division so far as far as the NFC South between Tampa, Atlanta, and of course the New Orleans Saints at this particular point. So interesting stuff there. So as we continue what we know and what we don't know about some of these NFL teams, is there a team of interest for you that struck you as you were going through some of this?
Well, I do kind of. There's a team that keeps coming to mind, but I feel like it's going to be obvious.
Oh.
However, we're just going to go to it. How about the 5-3 Cleveland Browns? And what we know is very clear.
Their defense is really good. Yeah,
defense.
That defense is really, really good.
Cleveland
Low key, Myles Garrett might be Defensive Player of the Year right now.
Might be MVP if we being honest.
Ooh.
Why are you saying ooh? I've thrown like 5 different people in the MVP conversation over the last week. Come on.
But Myles Garrett, we typically don't, do defense, for MVP. So
give it the bit. But he's been so good. Cleveland's defense is number 2 in the league in defensive efficiency, and it's obviously led by Myles Garrett, who's among the front runners for Defensive Player of the Year. Coverage has been as tenacious as Garrett, spearheaded by Denzel Ward and Martin Emerson Jr. So those are the things that, look, man, it's very evident. And obviously that defense has carried the way because we don't know if Deshaun Watson can be a franchise quarterback that they paid him to be. Right? He missed almost all of 4 games with the rotator cuff strain. Before that, he hardly looked like a quarterback that he even was in Houston. Right? He's back now. He started looking like a starting quarterback, I guess. He's made some nice throws. Can he get himself back to being a quarterback that has any level of respect in the league? Because they need it. The defense is giving them all that they can get. They're going to need to get a little something from the offense if they're going to be some level of good, I guess.
Well, they've got the makings to have, some good things happen offensively. I mean, Amari Cooper, who was really good this past weekend, as he customarily is, depending on where he's playing at. But Deshaun Watson, that's the biggest question. How much more can he give them, and if he can remain healthy this season? Because if he can, that defense is going to do a lot of that heavy lifting for them. And if he doesn't mess it up offensively, Cleveland has got a good chance to make some noise potentially if they get to the playoffs. But defensively, that's what's going to carry the day for them. In Cleveland. So interesting for them.
KG, the text line is asked for the Panthers and the Texans. Are one of those more interesting to you than the other?
The Texans for sure.
Okay. All right. Again, ESPN gives us what we know and what we don't know yet. And what we know about the Texans this year is that they've already surpassed the win total from the last year, which was 3, and are in the AFC wildcard hunt. Obviously, number 2 overall pick quarterback CJ Stroud has been impressive.
True.
After 8 games, he's 3rd in yards per game, 3rd in passer rating, and tied for 7th in touchdown passes.
That's overall?
Yes. That is all
Wow.
passers. 3rd in passer rating, 3rd in yards per game, tied for 7th in touchdown passes. The dude has been really, really good. But what we don't know is this actually a playoff quality team? Right? They're in the 9th spot in the AFC, tied with the Jets and the Chargers. Right? They're behind the Bills, the Browns, the Bengals, the Steelers in the wild card race. Some of those names don't really inspire a lot of confidence, but they've already beaten the Steelers, so they'll have an opportunity to play the Browns, the Bengals, the Jets. And the Texans are 2 games back in the AFC South behind the Jags. So
just playing terrific football right now.
And the Jags have already beaten them at one point. So it's like, look, man, are they actually a playoff team, or is this just kind of a nice story and y'all are ahead of schedule?
Yeah, I don't think they ultimately make the playoffs, but the foundation is clearly there now. DeMeco Ryans and Bobby Slowick, the offensive coordinator for Houston, they've got something. And the biggest thing is, and we talk about this all the time in the NFL, if you find yourself a franchise quarterback and you believe that you have got one now going forward in C.J. Stroud, now this becomes fun if you're Houston, because now you can start to build around a rookie quarterback. And what's been the flavor of the last few years, find you a rookie or a cheap, quarterback and maybe build around him and try to open up a window to where you can go win. And the Texans may have found that with C.J. Stroud. Right. And may want to invest in what he's got going on.
Yeah, take advantage of them cheap years for the next 4.
Yes.
And I would actually expand that out to get yourself a cheap superstar.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Superstar wherever you can get them on the field. Hello, Micah Parsons. And you utilize that added value by adding around them. I imagine that let's go ahead and get in the Dallas Cowboys here.
All right.
Because, look, man, home of the Cowboys, right? We got to do it. What we know about the Cowboys is that the Cowboys defense will be able to affect the quarterback and take the ball away. But it's done that since Dan Quinn took over the defense as a defensive coordinator in 21. That's also when Michael Parsons arrived. He has 7.5 sacks this season with 52 pass rush wins in 8 games. Cowboys have 13 takeaways, and cornerback Deron Bland, who is obviously taking over the role that Trayvon Diggs left once he was injured, leads the league with 3 pick sixes. Let me say that one more time. Deron Bland leads the league with 3 pick sixes. But in the bigger games, they need to come up bigger, which they didn't do against San Francisco or the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, what ESPN says we don't know yet are the Cowboys a for real Super Bowl contender.
Ooh.
5 wins have come against teams with a combined 15-28 record this season, and their biggest test against the Niners and the Eagles, they lost. But the loss that is actually telling is what, KG? Arizona. Week 3. If the Cowboy season ends without a playoff game, that will be the loss that haunts them. 4 of their next 5 games are at home, where they have won 11 straight to this point, and the road game is 1 win Carolina. They almost have to be 9-3 going into December, with 4 or 5 games against teams currently with winning records. So the idea is just, hey man, what we need to figure out: are you going to do the things that you need to do to prove that you're a Super Bowl contender? Win your way through, get to December, prove yourself, and then ultimately, ESPN's in the same place that all Cowboys fans are. Do it in the playoffs.
Do it in the playoffs. That's what happens when you win 24 regular season games in each of the past 2 years, and you flame out, in the wild card and then in the divisional round last year. You got to do it when it matters most, and the Cowboys have got to prove that. Otherwise, what are we really doing here at this particular point? That's what we know and what we don't know about some of these teams in and around the National Football League. It's the Get Right with Reggie KG here on 105 through the Fan. Coming up next, we're going to go inside the gray area where this former NFL player shares a rumor about Josh McDaniels trading a player because of this.
Oh, you just ready to dump on Josh McDaniels. I get it.
Next on the Get Right.
It's Pro Time at Lowe's. Get big savings and rewards during Provember. Right now, buy 1 exclusive DeWalt 20-volt Max XR Power Detect 2-tool combo kit. Get 1 select Power Detect Bear tool free. That's up to a $249 value. And there's more. Save $200 on a DeWalt 12-inch dual bevel sliding miter saw. Because Lowe's knows tools. Lowe's knows pros. Valid through 11/22 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
With your choice of select sandwich, nugs, fries, and a drink, Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag is your go-to. Your nugget wingman. Your hot and crispy fry co-pilot.
Just like us. We're like the bag boys.
What?
Bag boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when we bring your food?
For a deal you can count on, bet on Biggie and choose wisely. Choose Wendy's.
Bag boys, bag boys.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Includes choice of JVC or crispy chicken sandwich with 4-piece nuggets, junior fry, and small soft drink. Third-party delivery pricing may be higher.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Hi, it's Eric Thomason from Blue Nail Roofing. We've been serving North Texas homeowners for decades. And with every one of our customers, our job isn't complete until you're satisfied. Here's what several of our clients have said about Blue Nail.
I thought that they were extremely detail-oriented.
They went back to the insurance company and worked with them and got them to pay for doing the extra stuff that had to be done.
Blue Nail personnel worked with the adjuster, and then the work is superb.
I recommend them to anybody.
We had real good communication with them. I did not have to hunt them down. They usually came hunting for us to see what needed to be done.
I am totally pleased with what they did.
If you have storm damage, call Blue Nail Roofing today for a free, no-obligation inspection of your property. Call 855-255-1975. That's 855-255-1975 or online at BlueNailRoofing.com. Wind or hail, call Blue Nail.
Honey, can you swing by the post office and grab some stamps?
Done.
And drop off these packages?
Sure thing, honey.
Oh, and get the tracking info.
Got it.
But you haven't moved.
I know. How great is that?
This holiday season, the Postal Service is closer than ever with convenient ship-from-home services like label printing, free package pickup, and delivery notifications. You can send more holiday joy from the comfort of home. The United States Postal Service, delivering for America. Ship from home at USPS.com/holidayjoy.
Imagine moving into your new home before selling your old home. For top dollar, you can with Orchard. Here's one couple's story. Moving to Texas for work, they needed to sell their old home first. Move, rent an apartment, then move into their new home. Total nightmare. But with Orchard's Move First program, they could sell their old home after moving into their new home.
Orchard sold our old home in less than a week and for way more than we thought. So we got a boat.
Buy your next home before you sell. Get a free no-obligation cash offer from Orchard.com. That's Orchard.com.
Hi, I'm Colby, owner of Colbert Garage Door and proud partners of the Texas Outlaw Arena soccer team. Visit our website to win tickets to the home opener December 16th at Mesquite Rodeo Arena. ColbertGarageDoor.com.
Sean and RJ here for BetterHelp. Whether or not your family gives gifts during the holidays, you get to define how you give to yourself. And the holidays are a great time to do that. So whether it's by starting therapy, going easier on yourself during the tough moments, or treating yourself to a day of complete rest, remember to give yourself some love this holiday season, and you can do it with BetterHelp.com, HELP.com/Sean and RJ. That's BetterHelp.com/Sean and RJ.
We get it. We've all heard the phrases. We've all heard people say, just man up. Just handle it yourself. You don't need to talk to somebody. Now, sometimes you do. Sometimes you're out of options. Sometimes you've been trying to do it yourself for so long. Other times, you may just want a little bit of a refresher. If you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. I've gone through it. Sean's gone through it. We both highly subscribe to therapy. BetterHelp.com/Sean and RJ. Today, get 10% off your first month. BetterHelp.com/Sean and RJ. Find your bright spot this season with BetterHelp.
Imagine if you could charge your electric vehicle at the places you already love to eat, shop, and play. Whether you're at the movies, on your weekly grocery trip, or running errands at your local mall, Volta EV charging stations are built around your day-to-day and located in your community and nationwide. All you have to do is check in, plug in, and go about your day. It's EV charging made convenient. Download the Volta app to find your new favorite place to charge.
When you Tolo, you are family. family.
I lost my mother 3 weeks ago, and she's the biggest Texas Rangers fan, and all I want is these guys to win this thing for her. My mother's name is Thelma Wilson.
Thank you for sharing. We're sorry for your loss, and we'll get a Thelma chant going whenever they bring it home.
Huge congratulations to Thelma and all of our amazing Rangers listeners from your family at The Fan.
This segment of the Get Right is brought to you by Classic Chevrolet. Classic Chevrolet is racing to finish the year #1 in America. They're leading the way with an unheard of 400 Silverados with their best Black Friday savings all month long. Shop them all at ClassicChevrolet.com. This is Texas. This is Classic Chevrolet. Relax and enjoy the difference and find new roads.
About to go inside the gray area here on the Get Right with Reggie KG here on 105.3 The Fan. Kevin Gray, Reginald Atatula.
That's right.
Rigo Mendoza holding it down for here. Really appreciate you joining us on Odyssey and the Odyssey app. The truckrate.com text line 877-881-1053, 877-881-1053 if you want to get in on the conversation coming up at the top of the hour. We'll have your headlines on this Wednesday edition of the Get Right as the Mavericks right now down by 14 as we get late into the fourth quarter. The Toronto Raptors just punishing the Dallas Mavericks inside the paint. Pascal Siakam, 28 of his 29 points in the paint tonight for the Toronto Raptors. It's 122-108 with 4:35 left in the fourth quarter.
You said 28 or 29? Oh, yeah, because he's 1 of 4 from the free throw line. Got you.
That's right. That's right. Rigo, let's go inside the gray area here on 105.3 The Fan. My opportunity to dunk on Josh McDaniels, as I customarily like to do on this program.
That's right.
This headline, though, is it's a little wild. This comes from brobible.com. The headline reads, gentlemen, an NFL player shares a rumor that Josh McDaniels traded a star player because his wife was attracted to him.
Was attracted to her husband or to Josh McDaniels?
To a player, apparently, he traded. No? Don't follow?
Oh, okay. Josh McDaniels' wife. I was like,
why
would the player's wife? Oh, boy. That is... I will let you continue the story before I begin speaking.
Sure. Of course, Josh McDaniels fired by the Las Vegas Raiders. Antonio Pierce taking over on an interim basis as the head coach for the Las Vegas Raiders. The first story that came out recently is when McDaniels got the news that he was out of a job last Tuesday. Instead of letting his kids enjoy their trick-or-treat, he actually called them back home to break the news. So the kids were out trick-or-treating when they got the call from Daddy, like, hey, Daddy's been fired from his job. So
wait, is that for real? Because this is the thing. One thing you got to remember, especially in this this new era of Twitter/X or whatever they want to call it, is that people be getting all sorts of fake stories up. That are not necessarily true. This has been verified.
Yes, this came from The Athletic.
Why would you call the kids to tell them that? The kids didn't need to know that.
Yeah, McDaniels learned about the news of his firing while his kids were out trick-or-treating on Halloween. McDaniels called his kids and told them to come back home to break the news to his family.
See, this is why we don't like you. Let them kids go get them Snickers bars. They don't need to know that right now. You just made your problem everybody else's problem.
Maybe
go ahead.
I was going to say maybe he wanted to tell them, hey, Daddy's going to be coaching y'all next football season.
Or he probably called them.
They're not excited about.
Or maybe he called them to tell them, hey, save that candy because we might need something to eat because Daddy's out of a job right now.
Oh, he got paid plenty. He's fine. And also, you know how I always be saying you can always go home? Guess where he going to end up? I bet I know where he ends up soon. He'll be some level of consultant with the New England Patriots. I'll tell you that.
I don't even know if they want him at this point. I don't even know. But the story continues. Apparently, though, that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to McDaniels' questionable, not just coaching career, but his character as well. Because remember that one time when he was about to take the Colts job, and then he actually told them, actually, no, I'm good on that.
You remember that one time where he got he sent Jay Cutler out of there and then had the nerve to draft Tim Tebow in the first
round pick, boy. That's right. Well, speaking of the Broncos, Former Broncos tight end Nate Jackson, who's now an author.
Oh, good for him.
Wrote an article shedding light on McDaniel's failure as a head coach in the NFL and shared a number of interesting stories from his time around the team when he was there in 2009. According to Jackson, McDaniels had a, quote, fragile ego.
Sounds like it.
Both on and off the field.
I believe it. Just off the basis of that Halloween story. You can't let these babies have their candy because you don't got a job. What a hater.
And good point. 682. Just go with the bit next time. Yes, I know he's still getting paid by the Raiders. According to Jackson, though, he shared the rumor of why McDaniels traded away future star running back. I say that loosely. Star running back Peyton Hillis.
That's right. That Madden cover running back to you.
That's right.
Remember
Madden
that.
12.
The rumor for why McDaniels traded away future star running back Peyton Hillis is because his own wife Laura allegedly found Hillis attractive. Jackson saying, quote, McDaniels' ego wasn't just a delicate flower on the field. He famously sent packing Peyton Hillis because, word has it, McDaniels thought his wife had a thing for the guy. Now, of course, Peyton Hillis went on to have a breakout season with the Browns in 2010, gaining over 1,600 total yards with 13 touchdowns on his way, Rez, to becoming EA Sports' Madden 2012 cover athlete.
Okay. I think that we have reached the time for me to do this. Thank you, Swaggy Booties, for the assist. Swaggy Booties said McDaniels thought his wife was going to have a Macarena moment.
And Macarena.
Which allows me to tell you about what the Macarena was actually about. If you listen to the actual lyrics about the Macarena, yeah, man, it's tough because the song, in the lyrics, it is about a woman who cheats on her boyfriend, and with two friends while he's being drafted into the army.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So that
puts a real damper on that song.
Yeah, the song that people were playing all over the 90s and maybe even the aughts at weddings, have your grandma dance to and everything.
Yeah.
It's about that woman stepping out on that man with not one, but two people.
Specifically in the line, se la vio con dos amigos. He saw her with two friends.
Okay. That's a real damper on that song. The story continues from
think
Jackson.
about that next time you start doing the arms and everything and doing all this dancing.
Anymore.
That's right.
Yep. Jackson didn't stop with just the Peyton Hillis story. He shared a personal story about his own departure from the Denver Broncos, where he said, quote, I found out my Broncos career was over from a message left on my parents' answering machine where he said, quote, honey, there's something I think you need to listen to. When I tried to contact Josh for an explanation, his secretary told me he was in a meeting and that he called me back. He never did.
Nasty business. Very nasty business. There's babies crying.
Yeah.
Because they didn't get their Halloween candy. This is the thing about Josh McDaniels that seemed fairly apparent. And again, it goes back to what I was talking about all these New England Patriots, Bill Belichick's, assistants and tree and stuff.
Coaching tree not great.
Well, there's that, but then also, hey man, all these particularly in NFL and sports in general, we like to think about the X's and O's and everything. This is a people business still. And having some level of people skills, like managing people, is a huge part of your job. Any level of management, you need to be able to manage people and deal with the soft skills. Josh Daniel ain't got a single soft skill in his body, apparently.
Not a one.
And so, I mean, look, you could talk about his acumen as a play caller. We can get there if we want to. I'm not going to, because one thing that's apparent, he can't be nobody's boss. He has shown a complete lack of ability to be somebody's boss.
And he's got multiple chances to do this. Multiple. I don't know how he was able to find a team to convince themselves to hire him after the shenanigans he pulled with the Colts job. And somebody said, actually, you know what? he's good enough to give another chance to. Come on, man. He is not to be trusted and clearly has proven the fact that he's insecure and a rather small man.
Yeah, like think about any job where the former employees can't wait to tell you about how they hated their boss.
Oh man,
that is Josh McDaniels. Like this dude,
people lining up, boy, lining up.
Wrote an article about Josh McDaniels to tell his mess. Do you know how bad of a boss you got to be for someone to get out here and be like, I need this publicized.
Like I got stories to tell.
I need this to go to the mainstream media. How much I hate that dude's guts.
Now here's the real question. Truckred.com text line 877-881-1053. Would you, if you had someone who you were working with and your wife or your significant other came up to the job and you started to find out or maybe get hip to the idea that maybe they were attracted to, your employee or your coworker, and you had the power to move that person out of the way.
Calls coming from inside the house, KG.
Would you do it?
The calls coming from inside the house. Because the issue is not with that person. Like, that person's just out here existing. I mean, they trying to look good.
The other person the significant other got to go.
I don't know about they got to go, but y'all got to have a conversation. Right? Like, at that point, that's what it's about.
So are you attracted to me or not? What's going on here?
Clearly, that's the issue that we need to discuss more than anything.
Oh, so we shouldn't be blaming Peyton Hillis in this case. We should be blaming...
All right, so let's game this out, okay?
All right.
You move that attractive person out of your sphere.
Okay.
You're just not going to have no attractive people in your sphere at all? Because apparently, your significant other out here looking.
Ain't got eyes for you, apparently.
They out here looking. And when I say out here looking, I'm not trying to say like, hey, we all have eyes, right? You can see someone who's attractive.
Yeah.
But it's different than out here looking. And apparently your significant other is out here
actively looking. Actively.
So that's different.
Okay.
Someone says some of these ladies have work husbands. What's up with that? You have work. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about the work husband.
Okay, let's explore that for 30 seconds. Do you believe in the concept of work husband or work wife? Do you believe in that concept?
Yeah, I believe in the concept.
Really?
Do I believe that it's problematic? Possibly.
Very much so.
There can be some issues. Like, this is the thing. It all comes back down to trust. It all comes back down to trust. And I say that understanding that gets real fraught. It gets real tough when we start talking about the idea that...
Especially when you bring the significant other up to the job and say, hey, babe, this is my work husband. This is your work what? Your work who?
Oh, if she can introduce him like that, she either feels really good or that's up to you to decide. That's all you, big man. Hey man, look, so you got to have somebody that's willing to cook you a nice lunch every once in a while.
Not cook you a nice lunch. Oh no.
Yeah, that's the thing that stinks. We work at a place with a whole bunch of dudes. I would love a work wife to bring a lasagna every once in a while. That'd be great.
That's inside the
As
grave.
of right now, you're the closest thing I got to a work wife, KG. You see?
Wow.
How does that work?
Wow.
You enjoying that?
Oh boy, I did not think. Well,
we need to diversify sports radio, if for no other reason that let's get one of us a work wife.
I'm glad that we're comfortable enough in our relationship for you to consider me that.
Reg, does he bring you food?
Nah, he's never. Although to be fair, I haven't brought him food. So
I brought him Hennessy though.
Ooh.
Facts.
Yeah.
Trying to apply for a ballot on the Homeboy Hall of Fame. I appreciate it.
Should be first ballot when I got you that day. At that point, that's inside the gray area. You're gonna get right.
There's a theme to the show today. Kind of.
Coming up next, your headlines on the Get Right.
Take your Turn It On, Leave It On fan experience everywhere you go with our Odyssey app. Proudly presented by Comerica.
Hi, my name is Jim, and I have low C. There, I said it. I started losing energy and becoming moody. Next, it was my marriage. With my low C, I just couldn't turn up the heat in the bedroom anymore. You see, low C is low comfort, and it's caused by worn-out heating and air conditioning systems. That's when a friend told me about the comfort maintenance program from Reliant Air Conditioning. I had an honest conversation with my service tech, and it turns out all I needed was a Freon supplement and new filters. Now, my C level is back to normal.
In a clinical study, Reliant Air Conditioning restored C levels back to normal in under 2 hours. Discontinue your low C treatment if your home is so comfortable that in-laws demonstrate tendencies to stay on a permanent basis. Common side effects include extreme comfort, reduced energy loss, and a very satisfied wife. To get your comfort level checked, call Reliant Air Conditioning at 877-YOUR-HERO. That's 877-YOUR-HERO. Or go to ReliantAirConditioning.com. Get your comfort checked and turn the heat back up.
If you're looking to get an incredible deal on a diamond, I can tell you firsthand to go to the Diamond Factory. They are the only jewelry showroom with an on-site diamond cutting factory in the U.S. Exquisite diamonds, both natural and lab grown. No pressure environment with true gemologists and experts to help you choose the best piece for your budget. Eliminate the middleman and save money. The Diamond Factory near the Galleria, or shop online at thediamondfactory.com.
Nothing turns game day into a great day like stocking up at Specs and cheering on the Cowboys. As a proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys, Specs has everything you need to turn your pregame party into a full-on football feast. With lower prices on a stadium-sized selection of world-class wines, spirits, beers, seltzers, and gourmet foods, Specs is your one-stop shop for all your game day essentials. Cowboy up at Specs. The fun starts here.
If you turn it on and leave it on the fan, you know we're DFW sports leader on insight and original content all day long. No need to go back and search for it. We send it to you. Sign up for our fan newsletter today at 1053thefan.com. Proudly presented by Bosch Power Tools.
Is your home's air as clean as it should be? Bacon offers whole home duct cleaning for just $899. Breathe easy with clean, efficient airflow throughout your home. For fresher air, it's gotta be Bacon.
Everyone loves bacon.
Reggie was a nurse for 16 years.
I had become very burnt out. I wasn't making good money.
Then it happened.
There was an ad for My Computer Career, and it just spoke to me.
My Computer Career was the best decision he ever made.
I could study anywhere from my laptop, and I was working in the first couple weeks of me being in class.
Reggie hit a home run.
The field is teeming with jobs.
Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
The school is amazing.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu. This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
O'Reilly.
See better and drive safer with new bulbs from O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get a better view of the road and save. Receive a $15 O'Reilly gift card after rebate plus 2 times O Rewards points with the purchase of Sylvania Silver Star Ultra or select ZXE Twin Pack bulbs. Replace your old bulbs and see better. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts or O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Let's call a spade a spade. Everyone's disposable income is getting squeezed right now. Your subscriptions are more, gas is more, coffee is more, you name it, it's more. Trust your gut. Call D&M Leasing and have them show you a responsible way to lower your payments without sacrificing your future by signing a long-term contract. Plus, make no down payment and no payments until 2024. For the smartest way to save money, call 817 or 972-35-LEASE or visit us online at dmautoleasing.com.
We make leasing easy at D&M.
This is the exclusive home of Dallas Cowboys football. KRLD FM and HD1, Dallas, Fort Worth. Let's go, Cowboys.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
From our fan studios secured by DFWsecurity.com, it's time for the Get Right on 105.3 The Fan.
Final hour of the Get Right with Reggie KG on your home of the Cowboys and World Series champion Texas Rangers. 105.3 The Fan. Kevin Gray, Reginald Atatula, Regal Mendoza holding it down for here. Really appreciate you joining us on Odyssey and the Odyssey app. Going to get you caught up with the latest headlines on this Wednesday night. Appreciate you joining us on Twitch at twitch.tv/DallasFanCam and on YouTube as well. Search 105.3 The Fan on YouTube and hit the subscribe button while you are there as we get you ready for your Thursday here as we get ready to end this Wednesday night. Coming up here, in about 20 minutes or so. Talk a little Mavericks basketball as the Mavericks took on the Toronto Raptors tonight at the American Airlines Center as they begin a mini 2-game homestand. It didn't get off to a great start. That's how we kick off your headlines here on this Wednesday night. Mavericks give up a $127 to the Toronto Raptors and lose 127 to 116. Pascal Siakam was absolutely devastating for the Raptors. 31 points on 15 of 25 from the field. Also had 12 rebounds and 5 assists. OG Anunoby poured in 26 as well. Dennis Schroeder, in his revenge game on Maxi Kleber, got 18 points on 7 of 13 from the field. Meanwhile, Luka Doncic led all scorers for the Mavericks tonight in matching Pascal Siakam's 31 points. He just shot 11 of 26 from the field, though, and was 2 of 10 from 3. Derrick Jones Jr. had 15 points on 6 of 8 from the field. Kyrie Irving, just 8 of 19 from the field with 22 points. But the story of this game was told inside the paint as the Toronto Raptors dominated points in the paint scoring. Check this out, Reg.
Yeah.
A whopping 72 of their 127 points in the paint. No Derek Lively in the starting lineup for the Dallas Mavericks, out with a non-COVID illness. So Derek Lively was missed quite a bit tonight.
You want to also talk about where he was missed? The rebounding battle. Mavericks, 38. Raptors, 50.
Yikes.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that here shortly.
Yeah, we will. That just gives you a little bit of idea on what happened at the AAC. Mavericks get back on the floor on Friday. Really cool piece of Major League Baseball news happening today. Former Texas Rangers manager and two-time World Series appearing manager Ron Washington has a new job. He has been named the Los Angeles Angels' next manager, as the Angels hired Ron Washington today as their new manager, according to Jeff Passan of ESPN, as the team prepares for the possibility of a significant overhaul if star Shohei Ohtani leaves, of course, in free agency. Washington, at 71 years of age, last managed back in 2014 when he resigned, of course, from the Texas Rangers. 2 World Series appearances over 8 seasons, career record of .664 and .611. Of course, World Series champion with the Atlanta Braves as their third base coach. Ron Washington back in the game as the Angels' new manager.
I really shouldn't say this, but I will. Ron Washington's story also fitting in with the theme of the gray area this tonight. No, but it's great to see Ron Washington back. Yeah, you see it.
Yeah, that's why I left it right where it was. I didn't pick it up what you put down there. So I got you.
You see it.
For those who
it's
know,
night times.
know.
That's what's great about it. Can't nobody whip me behind it. No, but it really is incredible to see Ron Washington back out there. Like, I don't think that I've seen anybody upset at this news.
No.
Or like just so about this news. Everybody seems overjoyed, and the only people that aren't like significantly happy are Braves fans who are incredibly sad to see him go. Ron Washington is like a light. He is an incredibly good teacher. We've seen the ways in which he's helped defensively. Even recently, the likes of Ozzie Albies and all those Braves guys be better, even better at defense because he is an incredibly good teacher. But then also he's a dude that everybody loves. I was talking about like being somebody's boss, having the soft skills. Oh, brother, who of these top jobs, they just kind of got to take one of them when they come open, unless it's atrocious money. And this might be close to atrocious money, but he's also 71, and I don't know how long he can wait for the right, perfect opportunity to come open for him.
Yeah, the Angels could be on the verge of, blowing the thing up, because I don't anticipate Shohei Ohtani coming back to that team. And if Mike Trout ever decides at one point to be like, look, get me the hell out of here, Trout doesn't give off that vibe, but at some point in what will be his Hall of Fame career, I'm sure he will want to win a World Series and have a chance to do so somewhere else. It just does not appear that that's going to happen in Los Angeles with the Angels. So we'll see what kind of team he will be managing next year. But Ron Washington back in the game as manager. Shout out to the I wanted to make sure I read this text because this is hilarious. Shout out to the 214 sitting in the Target parking lot waiting on my girl for 47 minutes and 53 seconds.
Oh, not 47 and 53 seconds.
Not that they're counting. When it was supposed to be a 20 to 30 minute trip max. Well, appreciate you hanging out with us on the Get Right.
You know what it is? She's bought about half that store already.
Well, they must be
I was about
rolling
to
in it
say
then if they buying half the store at Target, it must be rolling in it.
I was about to say that's your fault for staying in the car, but I don't know if you going inside would have helped.
Probably not.
That honestly might have just led to an argument inside of Target. So appreciate it. Yeah, let's look at the bright side. You got to hang out with us, and now we got to hang out with you. We appreciate you rocking with us.
They might be able to hang out with Jamal Murray as well because he's going to be out for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah, the star guard for the Denver Nuggets is likely out.
Y'all wrong. Someone from 214 says she's in there with her work husband. Wrong.
Oh, wow.
You're wrong.
Wow.
You're wrong for that. You know you're wrong for it, too.
Wow. First of all, active listener of the show. Appreciate that.
Yeah, do appreciate it.
But yeah, Jamal Murray, he's got a hamstring injury that's going to keep him out likely for the next month, according to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, as he is dealing with a right hamstring strain, sources tell him, as the Nuggets are going to be taking a cautious approach to assure that he will have no lingering issues with the hamstring, and the expectation there's an expectation that Murray will need 3 to 4 weeks to properly heal before returning to play. He hurt the hamstring over against the Chicago Bulls in a win on Saturday night. So this is not something that is unfamiliar to him, unfortunately, as he missed time near the end of training camp in October with a similar injury. So, okay.
Yeah, and this is the thing where the Nuggets have some susceptibility. I didn't realize that was going to be difficult for me to say as soon as I got there.
You got it.
Look, man, Jamal Murray is vital to what they do there. Obviously, Jokic is the dude. He's the hub. But you do need Jamal Murray to be able to give you and put in these situations. And obviously, they've got a great roster and they can live without him. But I wonder, you hope that there's actually no lingering issues. And obviously, they're taking caution to make sure there aren't any lingering issues. But should there be lingering issues, that's the thing that concerns you, is Jamal Murray missing time, because we've seen what he can do in postseason situations. We can see the way that he can take over a game, and that's what's necessary, because the Nuggets are no longer on the plane talking about the plane of we're just trying to be at some level of good and be in the mix. No, they are the hunted at this point, and so they've got to be on their P's and Q's, and having Jamal Murray there is vital for that.
So we'll see how they move without him. But as you mentioned, Nikola Jokic is everything for that team, and I'm sure they will find a way to move forward without Jamal Murray. But
Reggie Jackson, come on down.
Oh wow, we're doing a lot there.
I couldn't remember who the other guard that they would be.
Was it Christian Brown?
Christian Brown would play.
Who spells it like Braun, but it's Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The University of Michigan continues to be in the news, as Michigan football awaiting potential punishment from the Big Ten. Michigan has sent its response to the Big Ten's notice of disciplinary action. A university official told ESPN today.
I love this letter so much. Oh, it's college. Look, if you like college football, likely you like it because college football is a whole bunch of mess. It's real messy. It's like high school, and this was very high school.
Yeah. According to a source, the 10-page response to the conference was focused on urging Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti to respect due process and argue that a sanction at this stage would be breaking the league's bylaws in an effort to lay the groundwork for potential legal intervention if Jim Harbaugh is suspended this week.
Translation: don't even try it. Y'all know y'all can't do that, and my lawyers will be on your keister if you try it.
Quote, it is essential that the Big Ten Conference not take any disciplinary action against the University of Michigan until the final results of its own, or more appropriately, the NCAA investigation, are officially announced, part of the letter read. A source telling ESPN on Wednesday night, quote, we're not bringing a knife to a gunfight. So they're really setting up for litigation with this.
Yeah, they're like, look, man,
this is wild.
We are going to fight. No, that we will not go quietly into that good night.
I mean,
we're not going to take this sitting down.
You know what this is? This is to ensure that they make sure that if they find a way to advance to the Big Ten championship game, that they do, and keep their college football playoff chances alive. Now, I said this to you off air, and I'm going to bring it to you on air. If Michigan is, in fact, dealt with in disciplinary action and kept out of the Big Ten championship or not allowed to participate, I don't think the college football playoff would then put them in the college football playoff. I don't think the committee would consider them any longer going forward there.
I mean, look, I hear that, but if they beat Ohio State, I think that there would be grounds to be able to put them in, even if they do not play in that championship, that Big Ten championship game. However, far be it for me to tell you exactly what the college football playoff is committee is going to do. They just be doing anything, right? One thing that they'll do what they want to do, and they get on that little TV show and then tell you any old thing, right? They'll tell you, oh, this year we care about conference champions, or this year we care about strength of schedule, and it really is. The translation is we care about being able to put in whoever we damn well please. So it just depends on, do they damn well please put Michigan back in there? And like, I lean towards yes, because that's a big fan base that travels pretty well and got money. Now, if and they're good at football. I don't want to ignore that part. If they don't, we'll keep moving. Like,
I just have a hard time seeing them disregarding, especially if the NCAA comes down on this and says, yeah, Michigan, you was out here doing too much and you're in trouble now. I have a hard time seeing the College Football Playoff Committee deviating from whatever punishment may be coming Michigan's way with respect to all of this, which has all been rather wild for this entire story. But we'll see how it ultimately plays out there. We know who's not going to necessarily get away with any of this. Shout out to Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, he was starting to wear his welcome, I'm sure.
He's like, I just wanted to go back to the NFL. I really just wanted to leave here.
Well, actually, that's not true. Michigan seemed very happy for him to be there, right? They're one of their own there. But he seemed to want to be going every chance that he got. He was making googly eyes at the NFL, like, "Hey, come get me."
What if Minnesota had actually hired Jim Harbaugh?
He was doing the Earl Thomas, "Come get me."
But yes, imagine if he had been coaching Kirk Cousins right now.
I'm sorry, it does not compute.
Nope, does not.
From the 682, let's draft their running back. Funny about Blake Corum. Apparently, Blake Corum's name is on some ownership papers of a company in one of them states in the Midwest. I don't know, Minnesota, something like that. Along with Connor Stallions, who, if you'll remember, is the dude at the center of all this sign stealing. Blake Corum said he got his legal team on it because he did not know nothing about this.
First of all,
if you choose to believe Blake Corum saying that he did not know nothing about this,
you got a legal team?
Well, I mean,
a whole legal team out here.
I don't know. I use the word legal team.
Okay.
That's my words. Let me pull this story back up so I can give you
NIL money. That's crazy. I got a whole legal team behind me.
Yes, it was in Wyoming.
Oh, okay.
Here we go. Let me give you the official, because I was giving you off of memory. You know what? That y'all deserve better than that. Michigan star running back Blake Corum says he has no business relationship with former football staff member Connor Stallions after records of an LLC in Wyoming lists both men as co-owners, and that surfaced Tuesday. According to records from Wyoming Secretary of State, Corum, Stallions, and a third person whose name is Connor O'Day are listed as organizers of a LLC called BC2 Housing LLC, which lists a home in Ann Arbor, Michigan as its office and mailing address. So now that takes you to all sorts of places like, is this their opportunity? Were they using this as some level of circumventing NCAA rules for compensation? That was where my mind first went. Now, of course, that's very accusatory. It could be something else entirely. They could have just used his name. I don't know. But I was just like, ooh, this is college football mess. This is college football mess.
College football is one of the messiest soap operas in the world. And yes, I said the world because the stories, some of the salacious.
I don't know. Soccer mess is pretty fun too.
Soccer, yeah, well, yeah, because that could get taken on an international level. That is at times really wild, especially with all the money involved in soccer.
Oh yes, and I forgot the legal team portion of this. Quote, I don't have any businesses with Connor or anything like that, but I'm glad whoever found it, whoever searched the web, was able to find it. I appreciate you. My attorneys are on it. Definitely get that figured out right away. My name taken off whatever it is. So yes, attorneys.
I'm about to say the E's, not just attorney, the E's. Okay. Well, the NIL money is crazy. Wow.
buddy. You can't just call everything NIL money. If we find out that this is involved, that ain't NIL. That's just money.
He's got attorneys on retainer. Y'all work for me. Y'all ready? Billable hours. Good for him.
Billable hours.
Finally here in our headlines, because I just have to get this in because we're both Manchester United fans.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Erik ten Hag is not happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not happy. Rashford got a red card.
Yes. I don't even know how to explain all of this.
You don't have to.
Okay. Yeah, Rashford got a red card. A lot of the soccer world has kind of looked at that and been like, that was a little tacky, because obviously in the run of play he wasn't given a card. It was VAR, the equivalent of instant replay.
Yeah.
That then brought it up, and ultimately the official gave him a red card for a studs up challenge, basically, and that sent him off near about 5 minutes before halftime, and that seemed to change the complexion of the game. And so, that's going to get folks mad, especially Ten Hag, who is the manager of Manchester United. He's
fighting for his life right now.
He is under fire after a run of some poor results.
Woo!
And not good look at play.
I was going to say, thoughts on Zizou possibly taking over?
The man is not. My bald head has not been fired yet, sir. All right, leave my bald head alone.
You'll have another bald head.
I know. But wait until this bald head is gone until you start throwing another bald head. Speaking of bald heads, Jason Kidd talking at the AAC.
He is. By the way, Manchester United dead last right now in Group A of Champions League play.
Buddy, you know damn well I was watching that live. I've had enough of that in my day. I don't need you to remind me of it.
Those are your headlines here on this Wednesday night. And 60 seconds of soccer, Gavin Dawson. How about that? Coming up next here on the Get Right, the Mavericks get throttled at the AAC.
Not throttled?
Because they couldn't stop giving it up in the paint. Next on the Get Right.
The latest from the Star in Frisco, as well as inside information from around the league. It's DFW's top football podcast for a reason. Love of the Star with Brian Broaddus and Bobby Bell. Sponsored by Boomer Jacks on the Odyssey app or wherever your favorite podcasts are found.
Hi, this is Gavin Dawson for Window Nation. The star of window replacement and proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys is back to fill your house this season with savings. For a limited time, buy 2 windows, get 2 free, pay no interest for 5 full years. Fill your home with energy-efficient windows for a customized, authentic Dallas Cowboys jersey while supplies last. You can even help fill the Cowboys house and win tickets to a game. Call 866-90Nation or visit windownation.com/Cowboys now for details. Window Nation will show you how over 2 million of their expertly installed money-saving double-pane Energy Star efficient windows are already rewarding families in over 200,000 homes. Call 866-90Nation or visit windownation.com. Buy 2 windows, get 2 free with no interest for 5 full years. Update your home and qualify for a Cowboys jersey and free game tickets. Call 866-90Nation or visit windownation.com/Cowboys today. Window Nation, proud partner of your Dallas Cowboys.
Imagine moving into your new home before selling your old home. For top dollar, you can with Orchard. Here's one couple's story. Moving to Texas for work, they needed to sell their old home first. Move, rent an apartment, then move into their new home. Total nightmare. But with Orchard's Move First program, they could sell their old home after moving into their new home.
Orchard sold our old home in less than a week and for way more than we thought. So we got a boat.
Buy your next home before you sell. Get a free no obligation cash offer from Orchard.com. That's Orchard.com.
RJ Chopper here for my good friends over at QC Kinetics. Where is that pain? Knees, hips, back, shoulders, elbows, ankles. Don't let it sideline you any longer. Don't let them tell you need surgery or that's your only option. Call QC Kinetics. The future of pain relief is here right now. The nation's leader in regenerative medicine, restoring, repairing damaged joint tissue the natural way. They did it for me. Right elbow, right shoulder, 2 years ago. Couldn't grip a water bottle. Couldn't play baseball. Couldn't work out. Couldn't do anything, man. It was debilitating. I went to QC Kinetics. Within 2 sessions, I was 100%. Now it's time for the left side of my body. The right side's 100% now. Left side, 2 sessions in, I am back to being myself again. QC Kinetics, trusted all over America. Emmett Smith raves about it. Right now, get started. You can live big in 2024. No drugs, no steroids, no surgery, no downtime. QC Kinetics, 972-972-8610. Start living the right way. QC Kinetics, 972-972-8610.
A lot of schools talk about training the cybersecurity workforce of the future, but do they really deliver? My Computer Career has been supplying the IT workforce with thousands of skilled, certified pros for 15 years. Train with the experts in support, networking, or cybersecurity, and start your career in months, not years. Upskill even faster on campus or live online. Qualified students may get financial aid, including the GI Bill. My Computer Career, accredited, acclaimed, effective. Take the free career evaluation at mycomputercareer.edu.
Sean and RJ's Firehouse Tour, brought to you by Texas State Brazil, will be in the Colony on November 10th. Swing by Firehouse number 4 at 3400 Plano Parkway in the Colony from 5:30 to 10 a.m. to get some tender steak and bacon wrapped chicken. Come early while food lasts. That's Firehouse number 4 at 3400 Plano Parkway in the Colony from 5:30 to 10 a.m.
Get big savings and big rewards now during Provember at Lowe's. Right now, save $80 on the DeWalt 20-volt 2-tool combo kit and earn 3 times the bonus points. Redeem those points for offers like NFL tickets to regular season games, a Super Bowl 58 experience for 2, and more rewards. Because Lowe's knows savings, Lowe's knows pros. While supplies last, selection varies by location. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts if any. Valid through 11/22, subject to change.
Some intimate parts need the gentle, easy trim of a Gillette trimmer. And some need the closeness and comfort of a Gillette Intimate Razor. While others need a Gillette Anti-Chafe Stick. Gillette Intimate, the best a man can get, down there. Buy now.
Fill your game day cooler with the refreshing taste of Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Smooth, real brewed tea with a 5% kick of alcohol. Look for the bright yellow cans. Twisted Tea. Keep it twisted.
Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
RJ Chop here by your friends over at #1 Air. They want to thank you for letting them be your #1 home team this month only. With the purchase of a new heated and AC system, you'll get the furnace free plus free whole home surge protection. That's right. Buy a new heated and AC system. #1 Air gives you the furnace free and free whole home surge protection. Heating, AC, plumbing, and electrical. 1-800-NEW-HEAT. 1-800-NEW-HEAT or #1air.com.
Back here on the Get Right with Reggie KG here on your home of the Cowboys and World Series champion Texas Rangers.
World Series!
105 through the Texas Rangers, 105 through the fan. Kevin Gray, Reginald Atatula.
Yep.
Rigo Mendoza holding it down for here. Really appreciate joining us on Odyssey and the Odyssey app, the truckbread.com text line. 877-881-1053. We're with you until 11 o'clock tonight. As the Mavericks unfortunately fall at the American Airlines Center, 127-116, as A-Reg could just not stop giving it up in the paint tonight.
Yeah, man, this is something that we've had a conversation about a few times, which is, look, man, they're susceptible in the middle. I think we saw this early on the first game where they didn't start Derek Lively. Remember when they had Derek Jones Jr. at the 3, and then they had Dwight Powell? It was basically this starting lineup, right? Or no, it was Maxi Kleber, rather. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I noticed is like, hey, man, a lot of straight line drives, a lot of drives right past these dudes, and there's no resistance on the at the point of attack, and then there's absolutely no backstop in the back, and teams were just going in there. And because Derek Lively was not in this game, that backstop continued to not be there. And now there's an attempt at resistance at the point of attack, but when you have players of the caliber of Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, that have not just their ability, but their size, their length. What you saw, there was a lot of, you know how sometimes you get some kids, if you're playing with kids and you just like kind of have the ball over their head, like, hey, this is up here and you can't get it. That's kind of what it felt like at times. Like this is a team that has some size in the Mavericks, but it's ultimately doesn't have that high-end size because Grant Williams is a relatively smaller guy. Derek Jones Jr. has, jumping ability, but he's a 3. Dwight Powell is clearly an undersized center. And so they were just really attacking the paint because you're susceptible there without a really strong defensive presence that's going to alter shots. And so defensively, it felt kind of crazy. It feels kind of crazy to say it, but it looks, you watch this game and you're like, is the entire defense Derek Lively? Does it entirely hinge on him being in the game? Because obviously we know that he's vital to it, but this felt more than vital. It felt like if you were playing a good team, which obviously, to be fair, you haven't played a lot of in general, but if you're playing a good team, you need to have Derek Lively in the middle to create, to force them to think twice about going right to the rack, because otherwise they're going to the most efficient spot on the floor and trying to get buckets there.
It got so bad for the Mavericks, they put Rashawn Holmes in there to try and defend what was going on in the paint at times.
Well, I mean, you only had 2 bigs. You had to get Rashawn Holmes in the mix.
Yeah.
He would be the third big.
The Raptors present, a little bit of a bad matchup as well.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about some of the things in terms from a length and an athleticism standpoint. I mean, between Siakam, OG Anunoby, Scotty Barnes, who didn't particularly shoot the ball well, but at the same time can put the ball on the floor and can get to the rim.
None of them shot the ball all that well. They shot 31% from 3.
Yeah.
And also, nobody shot the free throw well.
No.
Raptors missed 9 of those things. Mavs missed, 12 of them free throws. But it doesn't matter if you're going and getting buckets at the rim.
Exactly, which the Toronto Raptors did at a high rate tonight. I mean, they got, 40 points in the paint tonight and got out-rebounded. The Mavericks 50-38. So, I'm sorry. Mavericks only had 40 points in the paint. Raptors had 72 points in the paint, as we detailed a little bit earlier. Also, Raptors were able to get out on the break tonight, outscoring the 15-6 in fast break points.
Yeah, right here on the text line, the truckwreck.com text line from the 817, they said they were at the game. It felt like turnovers killed momentum. While I don't believe in momentum, like turnovers will make it so that it's hard for you to claw back into games because you're giving teams opportunities to go and get fast break points, which are significantly easier than half-court sets, right? So yeah, there was a lot of steals, 10 to be exact, for the Toronto Raptors, and you're giving away turnover points when your half-court defense isn't as strong either. That's not a recipe for success.
And you look at, like I said, with Toronto, between Siakam, Anunoby, Scotty Barnes, guys who can all put the ball on the floor and get to the rim. Dennis Schroeder, a lot of capable ways of doing that as well. He goes 7-13. He had 18 points. I mean, you had 4 of the 5 starters in double figures, and that was with Jakob Poeltl not playing well at all for the Toronto Raptors. So you get 31 from Siakam, you get 26 from Anunoby. You get 14 from Barnes on just 4-15 from the field. Didn't make a single 3 either. And then you get Dennis Schroeder with 18. Gary Trent Jr. off the bench was really good for them. He knocked down 4 threes and had 16 points off the bench. It was a +9 as well. So the Raptors just outplayed you and more so present a very difficult matchup, especially defensively when you got Scotty Barnes out here. My man was filling up the stat sheet. He had not only the 14 points, he had 14 rebounds, 7 assists, 4 steals, and 2 blocks. Scotty Barnes was doing everything for the Toronto Raptors tonight, and they just simply, the Mavericks did not have an answer for stopping what was a freight train coming through in the paint. It felt like it's just an easy layup line. At times, it felt like for the Mavericks.
Yeah, man.
Or for the Raptors, I should say.
It just felt like you got big boyed in a way, and that's really frustrating because what we were talking about in that 5-1 start, the one loss being the in-season tournament game versus the Denver Nuggets, which I guess if you want to write that off, you can. But this has been a soft schedule. Tim McMahon mentioned it last night. And you're starting to see what happens when you play some of these teams that have a little bit of more teeth to be able to attack you with. And it really does stink, because I would have loved to see this game if Derek Lively played and seeing how effective the Raptors would have been at trying to attack and what that would have looked like. Because really, this team is not, they are not anything that's going to be worth paying attention to if defensively it's not going to be there. It's just, you're going to end up with track meets where you get outran, And
this is despite the fact for the Mavericks that Derrick Jones Jr., continues to play well. Efficient, 6 of 8 from the field, 3 of 5 from 3, had 15 points, was a +11. Really one of your significant bright spots, unlike Josh Green, who in 18 minutes was a -21 tonight for the Mavericks. So, you look at the box score a little bit in terms of scoring. Luka led, the Mavericks with 31 points. You had Kyrie with 22, only shooting 8 of 19, though, from the field. And Derrick Jones Jr. had 15. You didn't really get much from Grant Williams tonight. He only had 2 buckets, both of those from the 3-point line, for a total of 6 points. So, You didn't get much outside of Luka and Kyrie with the 31 and 22 they had. Tim Hardaway Jr. continues to shoot the ball well. He was 5 of 9 from 3, had 17 points, but he was a negative 19. And that goes to the defensive part of his game when you look at how much, no matter how much he was scoring, giving it back up on the other end.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a formula for success.
And along those lines, as I always try and make note of before I use any of these metrics, box plus minus is a very imprecise stat. It does not tell, it's not the end all be all by any means of anything. It just tells you, what the scoring differential was when this player was on the court, which you can maybe take some things from, but you don't want to lean too heavily upon. All that being said, you mentioned Tim Hardaway Jr. was a minus 19. Josh Green was also a minus 21. And it's not because Josh Green is a bad defender. I think that some of this is just look at the size differential that you're giving up in those instances. And I think that kind of tells you a decent amount of what was happening. And oddly enough, the box plus minus star for your Mavericks in this one was Derrick Jones Jr., who was a plus 11. And that does make me wonder, because of his jumping ability, because of his ability. I saw him get at least a block, and I know he had 3 of them, but I know I personally witnessed one of those blocks. I wonder if that verticality was something that helped a little bit while he was on the floor to try and combat the aggressive rim pressure that the Toronto Raptors seem to be adding.
And you saw a nice little rim attack from him as well, putting the ball on the deck and taking the ball to the rim with a nice dunk there. I mean, you lost
maybe a couple of times in this game.
Yeah, you lost this game in the second and third quarters, though. I mean, you win 33-27 in the first, but you get outscored by, a combined, 17 points in both the second and third quarter. You give up 35 in the second. You give up 37 in the third. That's where the game is lost, because you were even in the fourth quarter, at 28. But, yeah, the second and third quarter did them in tonight as far as the scoring was concerned there. So Mavericks get back on the floor on Friday when they welcome in the Los Angeles Clippers. Is that an NBA Cup game?
Friday?
Yeah.
That's a great question. Let me see if I can find that out.
I feel like it is, because the graphic that I saw at the end of the game, both teams were lit up in gold. So that indicates to me that this might be.
Yeah, it's for the NBA in-season
It
tournament.
is a NBA Cup game?
Yes.
Okay.
Who'd you say they're playing?
The Clippers.
I don't know that the Clippers are in their group.
I can't remember the group.
Oh, the Clippers are in their group. My bad.
So they are in there. Okay.
Yep.
So there you go.
Yep.
Well, shout out to Bally Sports for putting up the teams in gold. I was like, oh, that must mean it's an NBA Cup game. And Mavericks right now 0-1 in the NBA Cup in-season tournament after getting beat by the Denver Nuggets. They look to even up their in-season tournament record at 1-1.
That's going to be an interesting one, because that Clippers team has a lot of things happening with them. So there's a lot of intrigue around that team in and of themselves.
James Harden there for the Los Angeles Clippers. Of course, we had Tim McMahon on last night. One of his favorite comps for Luka is James Harden. So interested to see those two teams get together. And it's always a fun time when the Clippers and the Mavericks get together from the last, of course, them playing in the playoffs for those couple of seasons there. So a lot of history in recent years between these two teams. But the Mavericks fall tonight at the AAC, 127-116 to drop to 6-2 on the season, 3-1 at home. Toronto is now 4-4 on the year. Louisville's own Pascal Siakam, 31 points, 15 of 25 from the field. Luka Doncic, 31 of his own. A couple other scores real quick in the NBA. Washington gets a 132-116 win over Charlotte.
The only way they can do it is just putting up a whole crazy amount of points.
Speaking of crazy amount of points, Pacers put the Jazz in the dirt, 134-118.
I'm gonna need to watch these Pacers, man. What is happening?
Bro, they shot nearly 52% from the field tonight. Now, the Utah Jazz committed 22 turnovers. So.
Oh, yeah, that's not what you want.
But, yeah, they Aaron Nesmith was their leading scorer tonight for the Indiana Pacers. He had 24 to pace them, and those 24 came off the bench. Miles Turner had 22. Benedict Mathurin had 22.
Yeah.
Tyrese Halliburton had 16.
Not going to lie, I forgot about Benedict Mathurin, but he's good.
They just they're really balanced. Like, they're really, really balanced, and they shoot the ball extremely well. So, yeah, Pacers right now 5-3, 4-2 at home. But, yeah, they win 134-118. Other scores real quick. Philadelphia gets a 106-103 win over Boston tonight. That game in Philadelphia, Joel Embiid, 27 points. Kristaps Porzingis led all scores. He had 29 points in the loss for the Boston Celtics there. Brooklyn gets a 193 win over the aforementioned Clippers. And how about the New York Knicks? They beat the San Antonio Spurs by 21 tonight, 126-105.
Yeah, where I think the story of that game is Victor Wembanyama, his debut at Madison Square Garden.
That's right.
Before the game, he said Madison Square Garden didn't look as big as he thought it would. That was his takeaway.
Seriously?
That's right. At the world's most famous arena, or whatever they call it.
I mean, if I was 7 feet 20 inches tall too, I probably would figure, it's not as big as,
Fair enough.
That kind of thing. Some of the scores in and around the league on this Wednesday night after the entire NBA was off yesterday. A lot of action.
Yeah, it feels like the entire NBA is on tonight.
Yeah, the entire NBA pretty much was on. By the way, Minnesota, they won by 21 tonight. They win 122-101 over the New Orleans Pelicans.
Yeah, man, watch that space.
Yeah. Final call next on the Get Right.
Coming up Thursday morning on Sean and RJ, we have another Cowboys-Giants ticket giveaway during the Expressway at 7:20. It's thanks to our friends at Miller Lite. We'll also play high-low as well. It's a Cowboys ticket giveaway Thursday morning on The Fan.
You know how celebrities have their own chefs? Well, I might be able to top that, as I have got my own personal nutritionist I can text whenever I want, thanks to Soda Weight Loss. Sometimes I can't believe how readily available they are for their clients, like me. So if you've been struggling in the middle of the day and you need encouragement, a scenario I've definitely been in, my personal soda coach has consistently been there for me. Or maybe you get nervous going out to eat because you don't want to throw off your progress. Well, don't just listen to me. Check this out from Steven.
I'm an incredibly picky eater, but it caused me to branch out. The other cool thing is, even if you do want to eat out, I can get on my phone, I can text Soda, and I can say, hey, what can I have? And they immediately send you a response. It's fast.
That level of personal service is why SodaWeightLoss.com has more than 8,100 Google reviews, including ones from me and Steven, with an average score of 4.9 stars out of 5. The change is available and at your fingertips by going to SotaWeightLoss.com. That's Soda. Wait for it. State of the art.
With your choice of select sandwich, nugs, fries, and a drink, Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag is your go-to. Your nugget wingman. Your hot and crispy fry co-pilot.
Just like us. We're like the Bag Boys.
What?
Bag Boys. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when we bring your food?
For a deal you can count on, bet on Biggie and choose wisely. Choose Wendy's.
Bag Boys.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Includes choice of JBC or crispy chicken sandwich with 4-piece nugs, junior fry, and small soft drink. Third-party delivery pricing may be higher.
Save on stuff you really need and stuff you bought for fun. Stuff you always really wanted this holiday at Amazon. Stuff that is discounted if you're naughty or you're nice. Stuff to buy your grandma who drinks her Chardonnay with ice. Stuff to make you big and strong. Stuff we can't name in this song. Stuff for lawns and decking halls. Save big on stuff at Amazon. Stuff.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
My dad has a cold, but also has high blood pressure. That's why I got him Vicks DayQuil High Blood Pressure for max strength daytime relief. Unlike some ordinary cold medicines, it's specially formulated for people like my dad. DayQuil High Blood Pressure is sugar-free, alcohol-free, and decongestant-free.
Vicks DayQuil High Blood Pressure. The daytime, non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, cold, and flu for people with high blood pressure.
Like my dad.
Medicine. Use as directed.
If you turn it on and leave it on the fan, you know we're DFW's sports leader on insight and original content all day long. No need to go back and search for it. We send it to you. Sign up for our fan newsletter today at 1053thefan.com. Proudly presented by Bosch Power Tools.
The leaves are changing. Thanksgiving is just around the corner. And you know what that means? It's time to start making your list and checking it twice. Pro tip, if you're planning to propose this holiday season, it's time to design the perfect ring now. Every Diamonds Direct engagement ring is handcrafted to perfection, which takes time. So don't wait. Start designing your dream ring today. Our experts will make you feel at ease as they educate and guide you to create that one-of-a-kind ring you're envisioning. Our industry-leading warranties will give you total confidence. And as always, our nationwide price guarantee will ensure you get the very best value. Plus, Diamonds Direct has a gift even Santa can't beat. Buy any natural diamond at Diamonds Direct and get a 14-karat gold solitaire setting free. Beat the rush, shop in November, and make this holiday season one to remember. Diamonds Direct, official jeweler of the Dallas Cowboys and SMU Athletics. Proud to call the DFW Metroplex home. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Everyone loves saving money, like with our $0 virtual care or $0 in-network walk-in clinic visits. And starting January 1st, Aetna CVS Health individual and family plan members will get up to a $100 yearly allowance to use on over-the-counter health and wellness items at CVS retail stores for, you guessed it, $0. You simply get it just by being a member. That's how healthier happens together. Learn more at aetnacvshealth.com. Exclusions and limitations apply. Visit our website for details.
Hey Tolos, Bobby Belt here. I've struggled with sciatic pain for so long that I accepted it would live with me forever. That was until I discovered the doctors at Chronic Pain Relief. And you heard me right there, actual MDs who are board certified in pain management at Chronic Pain Relief. I'm already feeling better than I have in years. Chronic Pain Relief needs to be your first visit if you've been experiencing neck and low back pain. They accept all PPO insurance plans at their 3 DFW locations. Don't be held back by chronic pain any longer. Go to CPRELIEF.com and schedule your appointment today. That's CPRELIEF.com to start your path to relief from chronic pain.
This segment of the Get Right is brought to you by Classic Chevrolet. Classic Chevrolet is racing to finish the year number one in America. They're leading the way with an unheard of 400 Silverados with their best Black Friday savings all month long. Shop them all at ClassicChevrolet.com. This is Texas. This is Classic Chevrolet. Find new roads and relax and enjoy the difference.
Final time here on the Get Right. We're Reggie KG on your home of the Cowboys and World Series champion Texas Rangers. 105 through the fan. Kevin Gray, Reginald Atatula.
True.
Rigo Mendoza holding it down for you. We really appreciate his hard work on this Wednesday night. We'll be back with you tomorrow at 7 p.m. from 7 to 11 on Thursday and on Friday as well, as we get you a little bit closer to your weekend right here on 105.3 The Fan. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow morning starting at 5:30 a.m. with Sean, RJ, and Bobby as they get you started on your Thursday. Little Thursday night football tomorrow as well. I forget who the Thursday night game is, by the way.
Oh, I knew it was one that made me kind of cringe. All right, actually,
all Thursday night games do that at this point.
Fair enough, but this one was particular, so I want you to. I'm going to look this up, and we're going to react both live to what it is. It is actually the Carolina Panthers going to Chicago to visit the Bears.
What?
That's right. And I'm fairly certain that Justin Fields will not be playing in this one. He's not ready to go.
So the NFL really just tests our abilities to whether or not we will get out here and watch this football.
And you know what?
No matter what game it is.
You know what a lot of people gonna do, right?
Watch the game.
Fire up that Prime Video. Like, that's the crazy thing. It's not even just, oh man, let's turn it over to Fox or NBC or one of those. You got to go to Amazon.
Let me ask you a question.
Just to do it.
Now, the obvious answer is, he gets paid a lot of money to do this. But if I'm Al Michaels, what am I doing here at this point?
Getting paid a lot of money to do it. Well, actually, let me not say that. That's a little disrespectful.
I mean, he is getting paid a lot of money to do this.
That's right.
Him and Kirk Herbstreit, which, I mean, as long as the check clears,
I mean, look, it's only how many hours of your day to actually do the game itself. I know you got to prep and everything.
Well, Herb Street on a little different tip because Herb Street's still out here doing the college thing too. With the old college game day show and still calling major college football games. So he's on a little different tip.
Yeah, you know what's funny is like I vividly remember thinking this not this week but the week prior when I was watching him on the college football playoff ranking show or whatever.
Yeah,
and I was like, do I got it in me to be working damn near every single day to try and make it to this level of like that level of like media? Because obviously, like we're both in this media thing, not just to be in a certain place, but hopefully to make advancements and possibly improve and get to higher places. And I'm like, at what level does my give a damn go? Okay, this is enough. And I wonder if it's earlier than got to fly cross country 3 times a week to make this go. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot. It's a lot.
I mean, and in some ways people will say, well, the money is when you get to those levels of success, the money that's in it is obviously significant, but the amount of work to maintain that level of not just preparation and all that goes into that, but as you mentioned, the time, the travel, the energy, the constant that's the part for me as you get to higher and higher levels of this business, constantly being on all the time.
Yep.
Like all the time you are on. And the amounts of downtime that you may experience, I wonder how much, when you get to that kind of level, how much you actually have it. Because at any point, you're either on television or, in the case of Stephen A. Smith, they got you doing 15 different jobs because you're the face of a company in that particular way.
Although one thing I do want to say in this is because look, it's easy for us to be in this media thing and kind of talk about it in this space.
Yeah.
Hey man, the folks listen to us got like regular jobs, and there's a lot of folks that are hustling in a similar way for significantly less money.
Sure.
That are like, look, man, I will do that hustle for a lot more money. So yeah, it was just a curiosity thing, and it wasn't about like anybody else. It was just me personally. Like where is the balance line for me?
Yeah,
was just something that I thought about. Can I take us back a segment real
Sure.
quick? As we were talking about the Mavericks, our producer Rodrigo Mendoza actually got us a little bit of audio, and actually we should give a hat tip to Ross Lubensky, who also was able to track this down. We were talking about our bald head in Dallas, Jason Kidd.
Yeah.
He actually spoke on the idea of Derek Lively not playing in this game.
Okay.
How much did you guys miss Lively tonight, considering the things that he can do around the rim?
No, we missed him a lot. There was no one in the paint tonight, and that just shows how important he is to our team. But it's the next man up mentality, and we just didn't do a good job on the perimeter or in the paint of protecting the paint and the rim.
Yep, that'll about do it.
How much do you hear that quote if you were Rashawn Holmes and you're like, bruh, come on, man. You gave me 7 minutes. Let me try.
As if 8 or 10 or 12 would have done anything else. No, man. They don't have the personnel. Which is, in some ways, kind of wild to think about the dependence on a 19-year-old, even this early on in the season, to be your defensive anchor, which is why I was really advocating for the idea, hey, man, go get that dude in Atlanta, Clint Capella, if you can, to make that happen, so that all this pressure isn't on this 19-year-old to come out here every night to do what he has to do from a defensive anchor and a rebounding standpoint. At least you could be able to help him be able to come along a little bit, because if it's going to be like this without a 19-year-old in the middle every night, oh boy, that is that's pressure. That's tough. So, I mean, Kid has never one to necessarily mince words, especially when his team doesn't perform very well, and we all saw it. He saw it.
Yeah.
Got nobody in the paint.
Yeah, early in, this is as you mentioned, an illustration of what he has to carry. But early on, Derek Lively has looked game. He's been up for the challenge, and so interested to see how this continues forward. And it starts. What was it? Friday?
Yeah, Friday night when they take on the Los Angeles Clippers at home there. So yeah, man, that defense, not good without Derek Lively tonight. It's the final call here on the Get Right with Reggie KG here. So I don't know if you saw this when it came to the NBA and the NFL and ESPN. This comes from Front Office Sports. Talks are heating up between Disney and the NFL and NBA about taking an equity stake in ESPN, sources tell Front Office Sports. Disney increasingly views a deal with the two sports leagues as its best option, end quote.
So I find this interesting because we've had a lot of talks about these leagues maybe taking more of their broadcasting rights back into their own. A part of this that I'm sure some people are talking about, but is not going to be as big of a part. At what point do we look up? We already talked about the idea of the broadcasters and the things that they're covering, the sports that they're covering, having partnerships, and the ways that kind of obscured and changed the ways that the coverage matters, like the way that colors the coverage. How much more so if the league is a part and owns the broadcast arm, right? What kind of coverage are we getting? Unbiased? Are we getting clear coverage of these sports? And I understand, look, man, it's sports. That doesn't, I mean, how important is it? But we start remembering that sports is a microcosm of life, and we start dipping into some real life stuff when we talk about coverage. How much do you worry about the idea of the league having the equity and the power to color the way that coverage happens on their leagues?
With Disney under pressure from Wall Street to improve its results, the entertainment giant increasingly views a deal with the two sports leagues as its best option, sources tell Front Office Sports. So the NBA and the NFL buying into ESPN, from a coverage standpoint, that becomes very, very interesting.
And if you'll allow me to do my hundreds level economics, like basic level economics perspective, is like I personally kind of shudder at the idea that Disney, the huge conglomerate of Disney, is like, oh boy, we're having a hard time making more money for these shareholders. We need some money, right? Like, if Disney's out here like, oh man, we got to find more money for our shareholders. How much more everybody else? Like, I don't know. Like,
if Mickey out here struggling to find some cash, oh boy, yeah, it's rough in these streets. Good gracious!
Like, what am I supposed to do, man? I'm just a man wearing a beanie doing radio. Man. What you want me to do?
Again, appreciate the hard work of my man Rigo Mendoza on this Wednesday night. Thank you, sir.
I'm hammered right now.
Thanks, Broadus. Appreciate that. From my partner, Reginald Atatula, my name is Kevin Gray. This has been the Get Right with Reggie KG on 105.3 The Fan. Again, we're back with you tomorrow night from 7 to 11 p.m. And, of course, tune in tomorrow morning, starting at 5:30 a.m. with Sean and RJ and Bobby to get you started on your Thursday on 105 through the Fan. Y'all be good. We'll talk to you later.
Be easy. Peace.
I'm hammered right now.
Text away your thoughts to the guys right now on the truckwreck.com fan text line at 877-881-1053. This is DFW Sports Station 105.3 The Fan.
Reggie was a nurse for 16